at 3.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to News 6 at 3 o'clock. We are inside the News 6 newsroom, bringing you up to date with the only show you have at this hour that will bring you the very latest live breaking news.
We are nice and warm in studio, avoiding the outdoors at all costs because it is so cold for Florida standards, and that is our big story of the day.
That is all anyone is talking about, and the person we want to talk to about that is the guy who predicted this a week and a half ago. Come on in, meteorologist Jonathan. I'm going to give you your flowers every single time.
Too kind.
Because that's the only way we get prepared for something like this. And I know we laugh and joke about it, saying that, oh gosh, it's Florida.
Right.
But this is really serious cold.
No, it's pretty cold. I mean, tonight we're talking about the coldest of the season.
Yeah.
And we're looking forward to like the week, not looking forward to, but we are looking ahead to the weekend. And we're almost kind of skipping over that tonight is going to be really, really cold as well. And it's, again, anything you can do, I can do better. We talked about that 2 weeks ago. That's what these rounds of colder air are saying. So Matt mentioned it. It is chilly outside. We have spots in Central Florida that have not climbed out of the 40s today. We're at 45 degrees in New Smyrna Beach. We're at 48 in Daytona, back to the low 50s in Sanford. This is what we wake up to tomorrow morning, 20s and 30s. Again, we're going to shave off about 2 to 3 degrees from where we were today. The good news is it's all relative. It's not going to be.
Come on, bring us the good news.
As windy.
Okay.
That's the key. Okay, so it's not going to be as windy, but that will allow temperatures to drop a couple of extra degrees, so it's going to be colder, but the wind chill is not going to be as bad. Freeze warnings in play just about for everybody. Just keep your plants covered until basically June at this point. Because that's a little bit.
Wow. That good news went away really fast.
Like the first week of February, and then you can start to uncover that. It's going to be that cold for that long.
For that
Yeah,
long.
it's a
That's
serious
crazy.
stretch.
Yeah.
All right.
Jonathan,
Thank you,
thanks.
Jonathan.
You
We'll
got
see
it.
you in a little bit, too. All right, as Jonathan mentioned, we are in store for more than a week of near freezing or at freezing temps. That means first responders are getting ready to answer the call if people need them.
Yeah, your Seminole County community correspondent Mark Lehman is checking in with firefighters to see how they're getting ready for this.
Temps dipping into the 30s and even 20s on some days over the next week. That's what our News 6 weather app is showing. And that also has emergency crews gearing up for the impact. And we spoke with firefighters about their concerns.
When it comes to medical calls, that's our biggest concern.
Lieutenant Dave Williams' crew at Station 36 is expecting things to get busy over the next week. With a prolonged cold snap in the forecast, there will likely be more calls for people exposed to the frigid temps.
We look at pediatrics and elderly patients, or those who, like the homeless, who are outside for extended periods of time. Even though it's Central Florida, we do have issues with hypothermia here.
Firefighters are also bracing to respond to heater-related issues at homes.
It literally burns that dust off, so that's why you have that heating smell. So we do get a lot of those calls initially. After the first, second, third day, it starts dwindling down. But as far as active fires, we'll see a little bit of an increase, but not drastic.
Many of those fires will be because of space heaters.
If residents are going to use space heaters, just remember 3 feet away from any objects. Don't use an extension cord. If you're using an extension cord for a space heater, you're using it in the wrong space.
In this time of year, Williams reminds homeowners to check their smoke detectors.
It's very important that you have working detectors. The recommendation is replace them every 10 years. Whenever we have a time change, every 6 months, change your batteries.
In Lake Mary, I'm your Seminole County community correspondent Mark Lehman, News 6.
Yeah, I think sometimes we forget that those guys have to go out and answer the call in this same weather.
That's right. And I know it sounds redundant every year, but every year we cover these space heater fires because they just tend to happen
I know,
this
they
time
really
of year.
do.
All right, well, as these frigid temperatures start to settle in for, as Jonathan said, the foreseeable future, cold weather shelters are opening across Central Florida. Every county across Central Florida, except for Marion, is opening spaces for people who don't have that reliable access to heat to warm up. Head to clickorlando.com for a full list of shelter locations and how communities are helping people to get to those locations as well. Because it's not just about the shelter. A lot of those people who don't have that reliable heat source don't have a reliable source of transportation either.
Yeah, and of course, if, God forbid, your heat goes out for whatever reason because you haven't turned it on all season and you realize that something is wrong with it, you're going to need a place to stay because this is not the weather you want to try and tough it out in. All right, and if you're already on clickorlando.com looking at those cold weather shelters, stay there because we have a poll of the day we want you to answer.
This is a fun one.
It is a fun one. We all have our go-to cold weather foods or comfort things that we like, you know. So take out your phone. You can scan the QR code that you see right there on your screen. It'll take you to clickorlando.com where you can react, and that's where you can weigh in. We want to know what's your go-to weather, what's your go-to cold weather food. We put a few options in there for you, and chili, is chili not a soup? It's like is a hot dog, a sandwich.
It's like it's separate. Okay. It does deserve a separate distinction, I feel.
All right, so there's chili and there's soup and there's 50%, and you guys don't want anything else. Nobody wants grandma's stew?
You want hot cider on late January?
But on it's cold outside. It's cold weather go-to. That's
My wife
what you
makes
want.
a white chicken chili.
Yeah.
That'll knock your socks off.
Is it award-winning, though?
Okay, you want an award, but there's an asterisk by it. Because it was in this place.
Anyway, so let us know what you think about that.
Yeah, very interesting topic. We'd love for you to weigh in on that. All right, let's get serious now. We have some breaking news across the other side of the country. So a person is in critical condition involving a shooting with a Border Patrol agent. That person who was shot was taken into custody. This happened close to the U.S.-Mexico border. We're working on getting an idea of what the scene looks like right now. We're trying to pull up a live shot for you over in our content center and get a look at what's going on here. But this has obviously been huge in the news.
It's a hot topic.
Look for another update on this coming up at 4 o'clock. Meanwhile, we have to take you to Minnesota, where this has been boiling over for weeks now. CBS has learned some of the 800 agents who are a part of the larger federal task force sent to Minneapolis, they're leaving. President Trump's border czar, Tom Homan, hitting the ground in Minnesota to take over immigration's enforcement operations after intense public backlash and some bipartisan criticism as well. Sources say Homan was in the West Wing to strategize ahead of leaving. Also at the White House, Department of Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem had a meeting there yesterday morning. She is facing some internal scrutiny with the Trump administration and questions about her handling of that shooting Saturday and the response. Sources say these are CBS sources, say she is expected to keep her job, but shift her focus away from enforcement inside in the interior of major U.S. cities and go down to the southern border. So there's a growing number of House Democrats who signed onto a resolution to impeach Noem, some Republicans even calling for an impartial investigation into that shooting that everybody saw over the weekend. They want testimony from heads of office. They want to pull in the Border Patrol on this, and they want a real serious investigation. More to come on that very big story.
Yeah, and what's going on in Minnesota has sparked controversy and also protest across the country, including right here in Central Florida. And you're looking at live pictures right now. These are protesters. They've returned to Orlando's ICE office today. This is their first demonstration, by the way, since that Saturday shooting that we just talked about that happened in Minneapolis. You're looking live at that demonstration right now. It appears to be peaceful for the most part, and they have quite a few people out there, even though it is pretty cold. So these guys they're a hardy bunch out there protesting, and you can see their signs like ice melts in Florida. So also it is the first protest since a demonstrator was arrested on Friday. We brought you that as news on Friday night as well. And protesters also returned to we'll have more on that, of course, coming up a little bit later on.
Yeah, and nobody has covered this ICE in Central Florida stuff as detailed as our community correspondent, Mike Valenti. He joins us now to talk about all this.
Okay, so you've been covering the story from day one when they mentioned that detention facility. People, not just here, but they're sounding the alarm about what's happening.
Yeah, especially those demonstrators we just showed you outside the ICE Orlando office. They don't want ICE here at all, but they definitely do not want a detention center. And we should note, important to mention, nothing has been signed. ICE has yet to lease that warehouse on Transport Drive, but we do know they were scouting it out as a possible detention facility. City of Orlando looked into it. Yesterday, the city attorney issued a legal opinion I have right here in my hands, basically saying the city can't do anything. They have no teeth because of the federal supremacy clause of the U.S. Constitution, which holds that federal laws are the supreme law of the land and that local regulations can't impede or preempt federal laws. Fast forward to today, the county says, actually, we're still reviewing if we have any options here, even though it's within the city of Orlando's jurisdiction. I know I threw a lot out at you, but we're going to hear from Mayor Jerry Demings right now.
That's within the city of Orlando's jurisdiction, as you know. What kind of legal avenues does the county have to try to prevent that plan? I mean, this comes in the wake of the legal opinion put out by the city attorney yesterday saying the city can't do anything. What can the county do?
Well, we believe in home rule. local home rule. Whether or not, pursuant to our joint planning agreement with the City of Orlando, could be invoked as a result of the city's failure to do something, that's unknown.
So again, that warehouse is within the city's jurisdiction, but what Mayor Jerry Demings of Orange County is alluding to is that they may have some skin in the game because of land use agreements with the city. They're exploring that. He has tasked the county attorney's office with looking into their options, and he says hopefully they'll have a response
Do
soon.
we know how likely something like that really is, or is it just too early to know?
It's unclear. I mean, the city attorney yesterday from Orlando was pretty definitive that the supremacy clause prevents the city from doing anything to inhibit the federal government from opening a detention facility. It's unclear if the county may come up with a similar or different legal opinion. That's something we're going to watch for.
I know those lawyers are busy, though, on both sides. All right,
Yeah.
Mike Valenti, thank you very much. We know you'll stay on this.
All right, this is one of those stories that it just makes you scratch your head and you wonder, what are people thinking and what is going on? This story is one of them. Take a look.
Doing 106, baby.
See if you can get him stopped.
It's Mr. Johnson, so I know him.
Okay, the details of the story are just startling. It's never good when deputies, by the way, know you by name. The Marion County Sheriff, it's not Cheers. The Marion County Sheriff's Office posted this video of a deputy who saw a motorcycle going more than 100 and a 45. On a motorcycle now, I want you to pay close attention. This happened Saturday. Even though the deputy turned his lights on, had his sirens running, the bike kept on going until he stopped in front of a home. That's when David Johnson finally did stop, and the deputy just had one question for him.
Come on, man. Why are we doing this? With a kid in the back of this bike.
Did you hear that? There was a child
So
on
that's
the
the
back
person
of that
blurred out
motorcycle. Yes.
in this video.
That
Okay.
is insane that you were going more than 100. And there's Mr. Johnson right there. He told the deputy that his motorcycle, by the way, was experiencing mechanical issues.
Oh, my.
And he was testing it. Now, why he had to test it with the kid on the back, I don't know. He was charged with child neglect and operating a vehicle more than 100 miles an hour.
106.
That
with
is
a kid on the back.
insane. I'm glad. And the question I asked at the meeting is, how's the kid doing? The kid was not harmed.
Yeah.
I mean, not in a physical way, but I can't imagine feeling safe in that situation.
Unbelievable story. That
Okay.
They come into this newsroom and we just never know.
We're
what's
just
gonna
reporting.
happen. Yes. Hey, we're finally getting some info on a church vandalism that happened over the weekend. So you remember this? This happened in Winter Park. Police sent us this photo of a suspect that they're looking for. We told you at 3 yesterday, somebody pulled a welcome flag down from the First Congregational Church of Winter Park over the weekend. They set it on fire. So police say they're looking to determine if the crime had a bias-based motive in this. If you know who that person is in that video, this one right here, pretty hard to get a good ID on them. But if you know who it is, call Winter Park Police. Hey, we have a lot more still to come here at 3 o'clock. A big change at the airport. A new policy at one of the largest airlines. We'll talk about that.
That's a big one, too. Plus, a lot of people are talking about a potential ballot measure. And if it could ever pass, it's something that we're talking about and something that you're commenting about online.
Well, for the most part, flying is pretty similar no matter which airline you choose.
You
Some
take off,
some
you
people
land.
will argue that.
You take off your land, yes.
Hopefully,
yeah.
exactly. All right, but for years, one airline has really stood out in this, and it's all based on the way they board passengers. But now that is going away.
It's gone.
It's gone,
It's
right?
gone as of
Okay.
today,
All right.
yeah.
Our dollars and cents correspondent Donovan Meyer, you joins us now to explain what's happening with Southwest.
Before we go any further,
Yeah.
do gummy bears count as comfort food in cold?
What?
No?
No.
Oh, is this your cold weather
Wow.
comfort
Okay, fine.
He was
That was
so
my-
proud of himself for that. We've moved on from that moment.
Where did you get this?
Erica Bergoglio.
12 pounds.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, so we're talking about Southwest Airlines. The big thing today is Southwest Airlines has changed their boarding policy. As of January 27th, today, okay, new assigned seating. Remember, you used to have that whole, like, you would check in, like, when you get that, like, text message or
It's a
something
cattle
like
call.
that. Yeah, it's a cattle call. So new assigned seating, no more boarding columns at the gate. Remember those boarding columns?
Yes.
Yeah.
All removed
With
last
the
night.
numbers?
All gone and all removed last night. And then we've eliminated the check-in reminders. Those are all gone and everything.
Mm-hmm.
So boarding groups are now linked to your fare type. So it depends on
What?
Yes, it
Oh,
depends on
sorry.
what kind of fare that you bought is where you end up boarding.
did you
So
pay?
Nobody's business.
groups 1 through 2, and there are 8 different groups, okay? Choice extra fares, that's what those guys get. Passengers who upgrade to extra legroom, A-list preferred seats, A-list status holders, they get to be in 1 through 2. 3 through 5, choice preference, A-list members, rapid rewards credit holders, and then your last group, 6 through 8, as the saying goes, just about anybody else, okay? Choice fare passengers and basic fare passengers.
I say ding dong, the witch is dead. I hated that.
No, I did
deal.
too, but I don't want people to know what class my ticket
They already
is.
know if you're in business class or first class.
Yeah, and another thing they did last night was they started rearranging the seats in the Southwest planes, so to give you extra legroom and things. So a lot went on overnight. And remember, this is all part of their goal to make more money, because remember, bags don't fly free anymore on Southwest Airlines.
I forgot why I was mad at them. Now you just reminded me. All right, Donovan, great job and good demonstration. Thank you.
Thanks,
All
guys.
right, well, clickorlando.com is an excellent way for us to gauge what you're talking about. No doubt Southwest is going to be one of them. But our guy DJ spends a lot of time looking at things that pique your curiosity.
So here's a real hot button issue, recreational use of marijuana. He's tackling that today.
Could recreational marijuana ever become legal in Florida? This is the post right here that has everybody talking. About 250,000 views and hundreds of comments. It links to this article at clickorlando.com that says recreational marijuana could go to Florida voters again this year. And not surprising, there are a lot of different opinions on this one. Tim says, it should be legal. Helped my wife a ton with her cancer and autoimmune. Michael says, allow personal cultivation and I'll vote for it. Otherwise, it's just a way for the dispensaries to get rich and you will not get my vote. Scott says, it's already a no without a personal grow option. Karen says, people can't think and drive straight now. This is all we need. Diane says, nope, I hate the smell of it. It's bad enough everyone and their mom is smoking it. Kids come to school smelling like it. Anthony says, please no, it'll smell the whole state. It's all you smell. You drive around town already. Christopher says, legalize it. Create job protection as well. Travis says, it's 2026. No one cares if it's legal or not. It's still going to get smoked. So what do you think? Is this the year? You can scan that QR code. It'll take you right to the post where you can join the conversation, leave a comment. What do you think? And you'll also find a link to the article if you want to read more about what could happen this year.
I mean, if not, people just take Southwest to Denver.
That's right.
It's all
And you don't have to be in the cattle call anymore to do so.
Exactly. All right. Well, some portfolios taking a hit over new tariffs announced. We're going to show you how.
Plus, how you might get some tax money back after you file this year. We'll talk about that coming up.
I'm News 6 anchor Justin Mormouth. Some good news when it comes to your tax return and some not so good news for one car maker. Let's get over to Maribel Aber and today's Money Matters. So Maribel, Hyundai feeling the impact of tariffs.
Sure is, Justin. Hyundai stock tumbled briefly on Monday after news the U.S. is raising tariffs on South Korean automobiles from 15 to 25%. So the Trump administration says the increase is due to South Korea's delay in finalizing last summer's trade agreement. The tariff bump also applies to South Korean pharmaceuticals and lumber. It wasn't made clear exactly when the new tariff would take effect, though. South Korea's trade minister is set to meet with U.S. counterparts in the coming days. Justin.
And Maribel, it seems tax filers could see a little bit more green in their returns.
Yes, the U.S. Treasury estimates that a majority of tax refunds this year could increase by about $1,000 per household. The average paid out last year was just over $3,100, according to the IRS. The agency points to several new tax rules and breaks approved by Congress last year. Now, the changes relate to some items like a car loan, interest, tips, overtime pay, and an increase in the child tax credit. There's also a larger standard deduction for most single and married filers. The IRS says a majority of filers likely didn't adjust their paycheck withholding to account for the new changes and paid more than they needed to. I mean, that would be a welcome windfall, Justin, right there.
I'll believe it when I see it, Maribel. We appreciate it. We'll see. We got to get those, got to get the W-2s, got to collect all the necessary filings for this upcoming tax season. We appreciate it, Maribel. Remember, to get the latest money and consumer news anytime, just head to clickorlando.com.
Some extra cash would be a nice surprise.
I like that. Bring it on. Hey, coming up, we're going to check in with some of our community correspondents, including one who's talking about how to better serve the people who put their lives on the line and serve us every day.
Welcome back to News 6 at 3 o'clock, everyone. We are live inside the News 6 newsroom where, every day first responders put their lives on the line for us. And thank you is really not even enough.
Yeah, and these local heroes often face some harsh conditions off the job as well. Your community correspondent, Jana Manohalal, joins us live now to talk about what they're doing to try to make it a little easier on them. Jana?
Yeah, guys, this field, as many of you know, is a lot of work, both physically and also mentally. I mean, mental health is talked about in schools constantly when you're growing up, but there's that stigma that exists around asking for help. Am I okay to ask for help? Should I ask for help? Is it weak if I ask for help? But Orange County commissioners approved a $600,000 contract, well, actually a little over $600,000, to put the mental health of our first responders on the front line. I spoke with the Chief of Division of Operations, Kim Bufkin, earlier today. She let me know that they're working to end that stigma around asking for help for these first responders.
Many years ago, it was, you just have to deal with it, swallow it, put it to the back of your mind and deal with the next call. And we do have to do that because we have a job to do.
Yeah, that job, again, is something that they have seen to be very difficult over the years. But she did mention that, in the past few years, 4 or 5 years, that they've been growing to end that stigma. What I found very interesting in doing my research for today's story, 18 per 100,000 is the number of suicide deaths in the firefighter industry. And that compares to the public general suicide death, which is 13 per 100,000. So it's definitely a lot more. And it's unexpected because, a lot of these first responders don't just come to work. They have lives outside of this job, like families and bills to pay and stuff like that. So it's definitely important that Orange County is showing up and showing out for their first responders here in Orange County. For now, I'm your Orange County community correspondent, Jana Manohalal, News 6. Back to you guys.
Yeah, and sometimes you have to keep in mind the unspeakable horrors that they encounter being first responders and arriving on scene first. Jana, thank you for that. Very important information. And if you or someone you know is struggling with their mental health, you can call or text the Suicide and Crisis Lifeline. The number there is on your screen. It is 988.
Well, the victim in an e-bike crash is speaking to News 6. This is a pretty rough crash here. In this case, investigators say they found the driver who hit this e-biker, dragged them, and then just drove off.
Yeah, and they were able to find him because of surveillance video. They helped identify the driver of that SUV after the crash that happened Friday morning. This happened in Palm Coast, by the way, and our Troy Campbell was actually able to speak with that victim.
Right now, we're standing along Palm Coast Parkway and Lake Forest Way, where 75-year-old David Blank says he was riding his e-bike on Friday morning. However, he says moments after entering the roadway, he was struck by a vehicle and dragged several feet.
I went ahead and went, and boom, it was just broadsided. I mean, I was right in the middle of his hood.
75-year-old David Banks says he was riding his e-bike to the store up the street on Friday when he was hit by an SUV. He says after falling to the ground, he heard the vehicle drive away.
He killed it and just took off, so I was a little bit disappointed. I opened the door and just asked if you can drag my body out of the street or something. I mean.
The Flagler County Sheriff's Office says, according to surveillance video evidence, the vehicle is seen pulling forward and striking David on his e-bike, dragging the bike and him approximately 6 feet. Investigators say they eventually located the white Mazda SUV in a driveway along Beaver Dam Lane and noticed damage to the front driver's side fender. That's when deputies say they made contact with 38-year-old Andrea Matranga at the front door of the home, who immediately stated there was no crash before officers even spoke with him. A deputy wrote he attempted to take the door and with force attempt to slam the door on my foot, still yelling that he wanted me to get off of his property, attempting to completely shut the door. Officers say they went on to deploy a taser twice, but it was ineffective due to his baggy clothing. A third time would prove successful, and he was taken into custody on several charges, including leaving the scene of a crash with injury and battery on an officer. Blank says he's just thankful to be alive.
Because I don't hold malice towards anybody, but be a human being. I mean, at least check on somebody if there's a possibility that you might be able to help somebody. It's my lucky day. It's the way I look at it, you know? I mean, because it could have been terrible. It could have been terrible. So, you know, I feel blessed.
Deputies also say a relative of Mantranga's did say he was diagnosed with schizophrenia. He did have a driver's license, but he was known to sneak out and drive around. Officials also say he was released on a $15,000 bond. In Flagler County, Troy Campbell, News 6.
He's way more polite than I am, saying, I was a little disappointed the guy ran me over and then drove off.
I think that guy is
Very
just happy to be on this side after something like that.
As he should be.
Yeah. All right, we're going to get more information on a NASA plane that crashed earlier this afternoon. So let's give you some video there. You see that thing? You're looking at Ellington Airfield in Houston, where our station there is reporting that a NASA WB-57, described as a high-altitude research plane, landed on its belly. I know we say it crashed, but it did land on its belly. The plane can fly for extended hours and extended periods of time at a very high altitude, above 60,000 feet, by the way. Now, to put that into context, when you fly a commercial plane, they usually don't go above 40,000 feet. That's cruising altitude. This plane is designed to carry scientific payloads and typically has 2 people on board. NASA says everybody who was on board is safe and accounted for. As far as what caused this plane to do this belly landing here, NASA is only saying that it was some sort of mechanical issue.
As if the landing gear might not have come down or something
It certainly looks that way.
Yeah, interesting. They don't tell us a lot about those planes.
No, because
those
they're
go
probably
way
doing
up
some
in
secret
there,
work up
and
there.
They do some real secret stuff. All right. State lawmakers moving forward with an interesting plan that they say will beef up security for state universities and colleges. The House Judiciary Committee unanimously approved a bill that includes allowing college and university employees to become armed school guardians. Does this sound familiar? To help respond to incidents. Proponents say all schools need to be prepared for these active shooters, especially after that Florida State shooting last spring.
This is now all too common of a story, and that we here in Florida, if we're the ones that are taking a step in creating uniformity in this, because it can happen anywhere at any time, I'm proud of that.
So the bill would allow colleges and universities to choose to take part in that Guardian program, which involves employees who receive training and have concealed weapons licenses being able to carry guns on campus. It would also require colleges and universities to take steps like having active assailant response plans. That would be something like being able to issue campus-wide alerts and certifying that faculty, staff, and students annually receive some training to prepare for any active shooter situations. In Florida State, it happened in that student union area while everybody was there eating lunch. So it's one of those places you think maybe if they put a program like this into place, someone would have been there a little quicker, even though campus police is already there, and they did respond fairly quickly. Well, we hear so much these days about nursing shortages. When you hear the numbers on how many nurses we're going to be short, it's tens of thousands in the coming years. Well, a new facility could maybe fix that issue, or at least get us on the path to fixing it. Officials cut the ribbon on this new clinic learning and simulation center here. It's by Western Governors University. That's a private online university. Look at the dolls and dummies they're using in this.
Don't call them
these. Are you not allowed to call them dummies anymore?
I don't know.
All right. Well, I'm calling them dummies. $5.5 million nurse training facility aims to help address those shortages. We have them in Orange, Osceola, Seminole, Lake, and Volusia, and this could help with all of those. The simulation center will provide some of that hands-on training. They're going to use those lifelike mannequins and responsive patient simulators to get those students ready.
That it helped them realize a passion or a dream that they may have not otherwise expected to be accessible. And that they can start being an ambassador, if you will, for that kind of experience. And it gives a real also experience for, I think, employers recognizing that these programs are addressing the nursing challenges and increasing the qualifications of the nurses that are going to be working in their hospitals and health systems.
All right, very interesting. We need more of them. We've got to churn them out. So how are we going to do that
good ones.
without
That's
the facility?
thing.
That we do.
Yeah. All right. Okay, so when someone says, hey, when you think about retiring, we all have a number in our mind, right?
Yeah,
Like sometimes
fair.
40, 50, 60 or whatever.
What age or what amount of money
No,
you
no,
need?
what age?
I have
Like
both.
what
Yeah.
age would you like to retire? I
Mhm.
don't think 90 is, someone doesn't wake up one day and go, you know what, at 90 I want to retire. Well, that's the case with this 90-year-old woman. Look at her, 92-year-old Muriel Connick.
That woman is not 92.
She has no, maybe it's keeping her young. She has no choice but to work at the Burlington and Pompano Beach because her Social Security isn't enough to cover all of her bills. One customer noticed this sweet lady working at the store and started a GoFundMe for her. As of today, it has raised more than $50,000.
Wow.
Well, I was really surprised. Yeah. And
So-
I didn't know she was going to do all this. I thought she was just going to give me a card and say, she said, this is to help you,
I mean, if anybody deserves it, it's this woman, 92. The organizer is also trying to find someone to help Muriel fix the floors in her mobile home. She's just hopeful that with the money, she'll be able to retire soon. Come on.
Oh, what a
Come
sweet heart.
on. This is the great use of social media. Please spread that story.
Absolutely.
Muriel,
90 years old. You shouldn't have to work
She
at
needs
90.
to put her feet up. She's done.
We're messing something
done, yeah.
up. All right, coming up after the break, we're going to talk about that intense cold that is settling in on Central Florida right now.
Plus, the next test to get astronauts from our Space Coast back into orbit. All right, welcome back. We're following some breaking news here at 3 o'clock. Just into our newsroom, we're told Keens Crossing Elementary School, this is in Windermere, is currently on a hold. The school just confirming that to our news desk moments ago, but they did not elaborate as to why that hold is in place. The school is on Keens Pheasant Drive. We're working to figure out what's going on there. Your Orange County community correspondent is already on the ground and on the way to the scene right now. The moment we get an update, we'll bring it to you both on air and online.
Ginger, thank you. Let's take a look live out at Daytona Beach, our beach camp. Now, if you were just looking at this, you would think, hey, this is a pretty nice day out here. This is beautiful. And then when you actually know the temperature outside, you wonder what kind of psychopaths are out on the beach today. I have no idea, but I'm here with meteorologist Jonathan Kagas. So whenever the temperatures get down like this, everybody wants to know, is there the possibility that maybe we'll get some snowflakes?
Yeah, you know, the Panhandle got it with the last round of the cold blast. The Peninsula is a different story. It is way harder. First and foremost, it's going to be cold tonight. Tonight's the coldest night of the season, just like right out of the blue. Coldest, we were expecting that, but yeah,
you've been saying this for 10 days.
The focus has been on the weekend for sure. Now, there's been a little rumblings on the social media stuff about the potential for some flakes in Central Florida. It's not going to happen. The only spot, and we'll get into that in just 1 second, is going to be on the Gulf Coast. So here's our big front. This comes in Friday into early Saturday. You see the temperatures way too warm. It's going to be cold, but way too warm to snow. 50 degrees in Orlando as all the moisture from the front slides on through. And then eventually you see some blue stuff get kind of close to Jacksonville. Okay, that's not Central Florida. Here's the deal. This is going to be early in the morning, 5 o'clock in the morning on Sunday morning. It is really cold. Those are actual air temperatures, by the way. Yeah, for sure. Note the wind direction, though. It is kind of due out of the north, maybe a little tick to the north and west. It's coming from land to land. It's one of the reasons why it's going to be so cold. We're draining all that Arctic cold from the north right on down the Florida Peninsula. The only shot for a few kind of ugly wet flakes is going to be closer to Tampa, maybe Cedar Key, and it's because the wind direction going right over this stretch of warm, relatively warm Gulf water to get some Gulf effect flakes. It's the same principle as lake effect snowfall.
Okay.
It's not going to be a lot if it happens, and they're going to again be ugly, but it's only right here.
But maybe in Tampa.
Maybe in Tampa. There could be a few flakes. Could be.
Wow.
But that's a rare thing, but not in our Central Florida area. For us to get snow, you need that low pressure. It's kind of spinning up here. You need that to develop kind of right here. Cold front comes through, and then we get that counterclockwise motion back off the Atlantic to send some moisture into the fresh injection of cold that we have.
Right.
That is not what's happening. Rogue model.
Be clear.
Yeah, to be clear, that's not what's happening. Rogue model run Sunday night, I believe, showed that it was wrong with the low displacement.
Okay,
so
good
that's the deal
to
there.
know. Hey, if you want to keep tabs on it,
Download that News 6 weather app. Again, it's our hurricane app is built in. Thankfully, we don't need that right now. It sends personalized weather alerts and gives you access to our radar as well, which you will need the radar portion on Saturday.
One thing we struggle with in cold weather, we like to show you pictures of what it looks like, but it just like when we looked out at Daytona Beach, you can't tell that it's cold, but one place you can always tell it's cold is Blue Springs State Park. We sent meteorologist Julie Broughton out there.
I love the jacket.
Bundled up. And are the manatees out today?
They are. I tell you, I wish you guys could be out here with me because it is just so peaceful. I'm so full of joy right now because it's a beautiful day. Yes, it's cold. You need your gear, but the manatees are out. There are 241 manatees in the Springs right now, and really kind of seeing them has been an exercise in patience. Photojournalist Paul Giorgio and I got out here around 2 o'clock this afternoon, and at that point it seemed like a lot of the manatees were hanging out right in this area. They were catching the sun. They were enjoying the day, and now they're kind of going about their late afternoon activities. But one thing important to remember about the manatees, they need water that is at least 68 degrees. So when we were talking about temperatures falling into the low and mid 30s overnight, a lot of the manatees, 241 of them, came into the Springs from the St. Johns River. And as we've been taking a look at that extended forecast, and as Jonathan just told us, we're talking about the coldest air of the season so far tonight and even colder this weekend. That means if you love these beautiful creatures, you have a lot of opportunities to come out and see them. Of course, remember, you cannot feed them, you cannot interact with them, you can just enjoy them, and it's just so peaceful. Look how beautiful they are. It's been so great out here. So, oh my gosh, that one's flipping on its back, Paul. Look, there's one that was flipping on his back, I think. I think that's what was happening. So we've seen manatees. I've gotten to pet now 2 dogs. I'm hoping by the time we leave here later tonight, it will be more than 2 dogs. So if you have not been out here, you need to check it out. And again, we're talking about this cold stretch lasting at least through the weekend. So you have plenty of opportunities to come out and enjoy these beautiful manatees. And I'll send it back to you guys.
It is so peaceful
It
to
really
see that.
is to see all those little lumps of potatoes. And just a reminder
Don't
to Julie.
call them lumps of potatoes.
I mean, come on.
They are
That's what they look
beautiful.
like.
Not only can you not feed them or touch them, you also cannot take them, Julie. Just FYI.
It is nice. So you could see behind her live shot there, a lot of people were out there
it's a nice
enjoying
day.
it.
It's hard to get into
cool.
that park on days like today.
Yeah.
when there are gonna be a
Beautiful
lot of
day.
manatees.
Yeah.
All right, well, guys, get this. We are potentially about 10 days away from the next launch on our Space Coast with astronauts on board.
Yeah, and of course today we're learning more about what's happening to make sure they have a safe journey.
So we want to bring in our key space savant here. We have Eric Von Enken. this guy right here.
Call me whatever you want. Thank you.
Will do. He's joining us now. So when could these tests possibly take place?
Okay, so the good news here is we're closer than we have been to the launch of Artemis 2 than ever. The bad news is we still got a long, long way to go. So what NASA just told us is this weekend, potentially, they're going to start their wet dress rehearsal, guys. So what that means is they're going to fuel this monstrous moon rocket. They call it the SLS, the Space Launch System. There it is. And so, of course, that's basically the external tank from the old space shuttle. But they have boosters on the sides, and then on the top is the Orion capsule, where we're going to put these 4 astronauts and send them deeper into space than any human has ever traveled. But first, because they've never used this version of the rocket, they got to fuel it. So what they're going to do, potentially this weekend, NASA is saying, they're going to do a terminal countdown test. So they got to get down to 30 seconds left in this countdown. It's 49 hours long. They're going to count down to 30 seconds twice. And what they're going to do is put all this fuel on the rocket.
So the fuel goes in. That's what wet means.
700,000 gallons of liquid oxygen and liquid hydrogen.
A minute to do that.
And you guys remember this last time. I think, Ginger, you were out of the launch pad with me last time. So when we launched Artemis 1, do you know how small hydrogen molecules are? I don't. But they tell me they're really small. The problem last time is they couldn't fuel the rocket because the molecules are so small, and the connections, there's so many connections with the hoses going into the rocket. So it took them, I say, several days to get through that countdown test, that wet dress rehearsal. So again, they're going to try to fuel it. They're going to try to make sure everything works. They've now added things like air conditioning and heating for astronauts because the last one didn't have that.
What day is that fueling supposed to happen?
Saturday.
I was going to say, because we are worried about some extremely cold weather in Florida, and you know that affects everything with these rockets.
So, of course, this brings to mind Challenger.
Yeah, of course.
Right. So NASA has addressed that, not in detail, but they're saying that they are preparing to make sure that everything is suitable for this cold weather. Everything's going to be okay on this rocket. They're keeping that in mind. Basically, that the air, I guess they're going to switch it over to heating because they have to condition the air inside the capsule for these 4 astronauts.
This is one of the longer cold snaps we've dealt with in a while.
Bottom line here, if they get through this fueling, this wet dress rehearsal, they could launch, as early as February 6th. But I think that's a long shot.
Yeah.
That's a long shot.
It rarely goes on their first window.
Yeah.
Is that really from the shuttle era, that booster?
So much
it
of
looks
this,
like it.
much of this technology, Lisa, is absolutely from the space shuttle. Yes, the engines are repurposed, the tank is repurposed, the boosters are repurposed.
Eric Von Enken, great information. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. All right, so we're getting ready for News 6 at 4 o'clock. Major retailers filing for bankruptcy.
Yeah, and we're going to tell you how that could impact you coming up.
another major retailer is headed for bankruptcy, leaving consumers with fewer options and potentially higher prices. Online competition, shifting consumer habits, higher borrowing costs, and the aftershocks of the pandemic have made it harder than ever for some stores just to keep the lights on. Over the past decade, dozens of familiar retail names have vanished, from Toys R Us and Payless to Sports Authority, Stein Mart, and Joann. For all practical purposes, they're gone. Now, Saks Global, the parent company of Saks Fifth Avenue and Neiman Marcus, has filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy protection. The company recently took on billions in debt, spending $2.7 billion buying Neiman Marcus in 2024, one of its biggest competitors. But within a year, the bottom fell out. Saks and Neiman's have since struggled as luxury spending has softened. The bankruptcy filing isn't a going out of business sale, at least not yet, as Chapter 11 is considered a sort of legal life support. And for you, the consumer, under Chapter 11, gift cards and customer credits are usually honored. In its bankruptcy filing, Saks Global estimates that about $320 million of prepaid gift cards remained unredeemed. Separately, the company says they also have about $200 million in customer obligations tied to refunds and exchanges. Again, if a retailer is in Chapter 11, you're usually okay. If things get worse and the company slips into Chapter 7 liquidation, all bets are off. Saks Global is expected to close some locations. Less competition could translate to fewer deals for consumers. For Dollars and Cents, I'm Donovan Myrie.
I mean, it's an end of an era for a lot of those big stores because people don't go anymore.
No, they online.
Sorry about that.
A lot more convenient.
All right, well, we are getting ready for News 6 at 4 o'clock.
Yeah, and we have a story that's impacting a lot of families. Your Orange County community correspondent, Tylisa Hampton, will be attending a meeting where Orange County Public Schools is discussing closing 7 schools. We're going to have that story for you coming up. News 6 at 4 starts right now.
Streaming on clickorlando.com and broadcasting live. You're watching News 6 at 4.
What can be done about a potential ICE detention facility in Orlando? Well, the city appears to say nothing. Coming up, the county striking a different tone.
It's a place the Orange County Public School Board said they did not want to be at, but they are. The possibility of having to close 7 schools because of low enrollment coming up. What they say that strategy includes.
But first, we are starting off with breaking news. School leaders at Keens Crossing Elementary in Orange County tell us they are currently on a hold.
Yeah, the school is on Keens Pheasant Drive. This is in Windermere, not far from the 429. We're working to figure out what's actually happening in this area, but we did receive a tip that law enforcement are in the Summer Lake community searching for someone or something. Your Orange County community correspondent Troy Campbell is on his way to the scene right now. As soon as he gets there, we'll take him live, and as soon as we learn more, we'll keep you updated.
Now to our other top story right now, we are heading into another cold night with freeze warnings in place.
Yeah, meteorologist Jonathan Kegas joins us now with what's happening. Jonathan.
So I have some good news and I have some bad news. The good news is the wind is going to back off a little bit. The bad news is it is going to be a couple degrees colder when you're looking at it from a thermometer perspective. It might feel a little better, even though we are officially a few degrees colder. That doesn't mean anything for the plants, though. The freeze warning, as we talked about yesterday, now expanding to include everybody except us in Brevard County. It's still going to be cold, but we will likely stay a couple of notches below freezing. Again, anybody in the purple last night should have done the trick. Keep the plants covered at least for the next week because we are expecting it to get even colder as we get into the upcoming weekend. Likely the coldest air we felt in about 15 years. 52 in Mount Dora right now. We're at 52 degrees in DeLand, Palm Coast. We're struggling to get out of the 40s. Same for us in Daytona. 46, a chilly 46 at that in New Smyrna Beach. Tomorrow, again, we're waking up to air temperatures in the 20s and 30s, closer to the freezing mark in Orlando, about 35 in Kissimmee, 25 in Denellen, 28 in Ocala. We're going to talk about the timeline that gets us back to shave off about 5 to 7 degrees from what you're looking at right here for the upcoming weekend. Big time cold coming in for the weekend at about 4:17, guys.
All right, Jonathan, thank you. We're following more breaking news. We're learning a teen has been arrested in connection to a viral social media challenge that ended with a dog's death.
Yeah, a Deltona woman says her 3-year-old Yorkie escaped in December and was later found hit by a car. She believes it happened after her front door was kicked in as part of a viral door kick-in challenge that was happening on TikTok. Initially, detectives said there was not enough evidence to file charges. But after your Volusia County community correspondent Molly Reed questioned that decision, investigators took a second look and found new leads. They just told us a 14-year-old is now facing burglary and criminal mischief charges. The sheriff's office tells us the teen was arrested today at his school.
And more breaking news, this time out of Arizona, where investigators say one person is in the hospital after a shooting involving Border Patrol near the U.S.-Mexico border. The Pima County Sheriff's Department said it was working with the FBI and U.S. Customs and Border Protection in response to a shooting in Arivaca, Arizona. The FBI says it's investigating an assault on a federal officer. As soon as we learn more about what's going on there, we'll keep you updated right here on News 6 and on clickorlando.com.
Meantime, in Minneapolis, a top border official is leaving the state and being sent back to his former role in California.
This is all in response to ICE agents shooting and killing a second U.S. citizen. CBS's Ian Lee has the latest.
ICE out now! Demonstrators in the Twin Cities are getting a bit of what they demanded. Some of the 800 Customs and Border Protection agents sent as part of a larger federal force are leaving, including Border Patrol Commander Gregory Bovino.
Any decrease in the numbers and the severity is just a huge relief to the community that's been suffering for months now.
Now on the ground, President Trump's border czar Tom Homan, sent to manage operations and work with local leaders.
He's meeting with the governor and he's meeting with the mayor.
President Trump says he'll be paying attention to the investigation into Alex Preddy's death. The 37-year-old intensive care nurse was shot and killed by agents on Saturday.
I'm going to be watching over it. I want a very honorable and honest investigation. I have to see it myself.
After meeting with Homan, Minnesota Governor Tim Walz reiterated his priorities: impartial investigations into the shooting deaths and a reduction in federal forces. Justice Department officials have said they are not investigating Renee Good's death. Minneapolis criminal defense attorney Rachel Moran says Preddy's case should be in the hands of state investigators.
It's not good practice to have the same agency that may have committed a crime investigating the crime.
Preddy's younger sister released a statement today, saying in part that the disgusting lies spread about her brother after his death were gut-wrenching, and that her family is grateful so many people have stood up and helped tell his truth. Ian Lee, CBS News, Minneapolis.
And here in Central Florida, we did see an anti-ICE protest outside of the Immigration Enforcement Office in Orlando. It just wrapped up a few moments ago. This comes amid a push to block an ICE detention center in Orange County, one day after Orlando city leaders said they could not stop the feds' plan for a facility. The county is going in another direction. Your Orange County community correspondent Mike Valenti joins us now live. He's in the newsroom, and Mike, the county is keeping its options open, but those options seem pretty limited right now.
Yeah, so Ginger, we should start by saying that ICE has not yet leased this warehouse on the east side of the county inside the city limits to use it as an immigration detention facility. On Monday, Orlando's city attorney sent a letter saying the city has no options in blocking the plan. Still, that legal opinion does not appear to be deterring the county.
At Tuesday's County Commission meeting, Mayor Jerry Demings referenced the Orlando city attorney's legal opinion regarding the warehouse on Transport Drive in East Orlando, and promised the county would produce a legal opinion of its own.
That's within the city of Orlando's jurisdiction, as you know. What kind of legal avenues does the county have to try to prevent that plan? I mean, this comes in the wake of the legal opinion put out by the city attorney yesterday saying the city can't do anything. What can the county do?
Well, we believe in home rule, local home rule, whether or not pursuant to our joint planning agreement with the city of Orlando could be invoked as a result of the city's failure to do something. That's unknown.
On Monday, the Orlando city attorney told the council the city cannot take any action to limit federal immigration enforcement.
I think we're all aware of the supremacy clause, and I am very respectful of it.
Orange County Commissioner Nicole Wilson.
But there are statutes and provisions within the General Services Administration and how the federal government leases private land, buildings, property.
Wilson has proposed an ordinance that would impose a temporary moratorium on non-municipal detention facilities. She argues this is a land use issue and that the county may have a stake, despite what Orlando's attorney concluded.
For me, doesn't provide enough information for us just to walk away from this issue.
Also at that commission meeting today, Mayor Jerry Demings floated the possibility of a lawsuit against the federal government over the current reimbursement rate for housing federal inmates at the Orange County Jail. Demings says the county attorney's office is currently exploring legal options on that front too. Guys.
All right, Mike, thank you. Schools closing and frustrated parents. Low enrollment is forcing Orange County Public Schools to close 7 campuses. Now, this map shows you where they are. As you can see, 6 of them are elementary schools and there is 1 middle school. Your Orange County community correspondent Tylisa Hampton joins us now live from OCPS headquarters. And Tylisa, although there has not been a final vote on this plan, it is looking like this is already a done deal.
That's exactly right, Lisa. Today's work session, they said no action would be taken, but members did say it was to see where the board is in this process. However, that end goal, that site, it's looking a bit more clearer. It's a change that will impact thousands of families.
From what you have heard is maybe the #1 concern from people. Don't close my school.
But that may be inevitable as the Orange County School Board discussed the controversial consolidations with 7 schools set to close due to declining enrollment.
Including declining birth rates, expanded school choice, legislative changes allowing co-location of charter schools, as well as changes to immigration policies.
Over the past 3 years, there's been 8,600 fewer students, causing a reduce in funding. Although there's yet to be a final vote, the board is going over maps and strategies for rezoning.
121 elementary students residing and attending Bonneville Elementary School recommended to be moved to Eastlake Elementary School.
The board considering all options, each one with a direct impact on students and families.
What made option 2 different from option 1?
We were increasing Columbia, but Eastlake was kind of staying flat, and their numbers were very low, far below their capacity levels. So my main intent was to ensure that both schools flourish.
Board members point to state funding, calling on the legislator to fix, and issues that aren't isolated to Orange County, although admitting if things don't change, more closures might not be avoidable.
I wasn't going to say this, but we're projected, I believe, for another 5,000 fewer students next year. And so while I wish I could sit up here and say this is the last of our consolidations, I'm afraid that that would be an untrue statement.
So you just heard that update from the superintendent about next year and what that looks like as far as enrollment goes. And although there was no public comment in that meeting today, they did say that there will be another one happening next week that will have public comment. And as for that final vote, that could be happening in March. Reporting in Orange County, I'm Tylisa Hampton. Back to you.
Tylisa, thank you. Meantime, the Orange County PTA delegation is in Tallahassee today to advocate for kids in the school district. Parents, teachers, and students from Orange County traveled this morning to the state capitol. It's part of the Parent Teacher Association's annual advocacy trip. The PTA says families and educators come out to support volunteers advocating for legislation that benefits Florida's children in public schools.
My girl is very excited to go to Tallahassee. She did a whole essay and learned about Tallahassee and all kinds of politics and all kinds of stuff. So she's super excited. So I also have a 4th grader who would be coming here. And so we're just blown away by the decision to close the 1 middle school that's doing a bunch of good things for our kids.
The PTA also says the delegation's presence sends a message to lawmakers that their decisions have real-world impacts on students, families, and educators in the community.
A shortcut to jail. That was the title of a Marion County Sheriff's Office Facebook post. Deputies say a man on a motorcycle was going 106 miles an hour with a child riding on the back.
It's going to be Sierra 0 November Golf 13. It's turning southbound on Southeast 56th Court.
So a Marion County Sheriff's Office detective or person says a corporal clocked David Johnson going 106 miles an hour in a 45. When they finally stopped him, the corporal realized the passenger on the back of the motorcycle was a kid. Deputies say that the man told them he was experiencing mechanical issues and was testing the motorcycle.
Why are we doing this? With a kid in the back of this bike. Mr. Johnson, why are we doing this?
So I just put a clutch in it.
Come on, man.
So Johnson is facing charges of child neglect and operating a vehicle at 100 miles plus per hour. Okay. Well, a federal judge says pregnant women can get special parking permits.
The lawsuit that tried to challenge a new Florida law and why it was dismissed, that's coming up.
Don't you hate when you get back from your walk and you forgot your garage door remote? Bet you wish you had one of these, right? Well, we're going to show you how to install it and connect it. I'm Eric Von Aken. We're getting results at home coming up.
This portion of the news is sponsored by Seminole Hard Rock Hotel and Casino.
We're following some breaking news right now out of Orange County, where police say there was an officer-involved shooting. Officials say this happened at the Truist Bank off Enterprise Road earlier today, but they did not give a specific time about when it happened. We're told the person involved was transported to the hospital. No word on their condition right now. The Florida Department of Law Enforcement is investigating. As soon as we learn more, we'll let you know.
And we're staying on top of more breaking news at Keens Crossing Elementary School. They tell us they're currently on a hold. The school is on Keens Pheasant Drive. This is in Windermere. That's not far from the 429. We're also working to figure out what's happening there. And as soon as we learn more on this story, we will keep you updated.
For all those times you take your dog out for a walk, or the kids are coming home from school, and then the only way back in is your front door because your garage door is now closed and you forgot to bring your remote with you. Well, that's what this is for. This is a wireless keypad for your garage door. I'm News 6 anchor Eric Von Anken, the handy newsman. We're getting results at home today in Apopka, and I'm going to show you how to mount this and how to connect it. Before you go shopping for your keypad, though, check your motor. Look for the brand and model, maybe even take a picture of it. For two reasons. First, because some motors are so old they don't even work with wireless keypads. But secondly, so when you go to Ace, you'll know that the keypad you get will work with your particular motor. The one we got, you can see, is a universal keypad, so we know there's no compatibility issues. Each motor is just a little bit different, but they all have one thing in common, and this is key: the Learn button. You got to find it and you got to push it. Your instructions will explain the programming sequence. Now we just have to drill into the block, open up the keypad, and then screw it to the wall. So now you don't need to carry that remote with you because you got your new keypad. In Apopka, Eric Von Anken getting results. News 6.
All right, we want to go back to that breaking news we've been following. School leaders at Keens Crossing Elementary School tell us they are currently on a hold.
Yeah, the school is on Keens Pheasant Drive. This is in Windermere, not far from the 429. Your Orange County community correspondent, Troy Campbell, just got to the scene. Troy, what can you tell us?
Yeah, so right now we're as close to the scene as we can get. We're on Bluebird Park Road. We are several blocks from the school. We are in a residential neighborhood. We're told that school is on hold, and the reason for that is if you take a look behind me, you can see several Orange County Sheriff's vehicles. They have several blocks blocked off here near Stoneco Avenue and Bluebird Park Road. This is in the Summerport neighborhood. Again, this is near Keens Crossing Elementary. We're told that they did, and we saying Keens Crossing Elementary families were notified that the campus was placed on a secure due to police related to the school. All students and staff are safe. School or have students at that school. All students are safe.
Okay, and we apologize. Troy, we're having trouble hearing your microphone. It keeps going in and out, but we got the gist of what you were saying, that there's a lot of police activity near this elementary school, and because of that, they are currently on a hold. So parents wondering what's going on with the release of their kids. This is why.
Yeah, and of course, anytime there's a situation like this, you can imagine it sends absolute panic through the hearts and minds of all of the families and the neighbors in that area. So we're going to continue to stay on top of that. Troy just got to the scene. He's going to continue to work to get some new information. But again, the school on a hold right now, and you can see a heavy law enforcement presence in that neighborhood.
Yeah, still trying to figure out exactly why, though. All right, turning our attention now to our forecast, where we are in for some bitter cold nights ahead. Meteorologist Jonathan Kegas joins us now. Normally, when we say bitter cold, we would be exaggerating sometimes because we're Floridians.
Exactly, and like 50 is cold.
Correct.
For sure. Yeah.
Exactly. But
not
no
the
joke.
case.
Yeah.
Absolutely not, guys. Yeah, this is the temperature change from yesterday we were talking. It was still pretty nice outside. It was in the 70s, still 60s for some, but the breeze was kicking up. We have a 20-degree change just about for us in Sanford. It's almost 30 degrees colder at this hour in Daytona Beach, 25 degrees colder in Titusville at this hour. Behind that very strong front, we have an even stronger front coming at the end of this work week and into the weekend. Right now, that puts us into the mid-40s in New Smyrna Beach. We're at 55 degrees in Holopaw, 51 in Groveland, 50 degrees in the Villages. It looks nice, though. It's a live look outside in downtown Orlando with our Light Orlando Delivering Hope Skycam. Not a cloud in the sky as expected. Sunshine dominant, just not helping much. We're back to the low 70s. The breeze out of the north at about 5 to 10 miles an hour, pushing that cold that has been invading parts of the deep south over the last couple of days right on down the Florida peninsula. Tomorrow morning when you wake up, even colder, 27 in the Villages. We're at 28 degrees in Ocala. Kissimmee, we're going to start our day at 35. We're closer to the freezing mark in Orlando and in Sanford, back to the lower 30s. Now here's a look at your afternoon.
Your forecast is sponsored by Renewal by Anderson.
Sunshine does help get us back to the upper 50s and lower 60s tomorrow. That's about 10 degrees shy of where we should be for this time of the year. 58 in Ocala, Titusville, good evening. We're back to 61. Micco, we're going to get back to the lower 60s as well. 63 for us into Palm Bay. But it does get colder. Big time cold front. We're fast forwarding Friday. It slides on through the Florida Panhandle and then eventually towards the Florida Peninsula. This does give us a pretty decent shot for rain. This is early in the morning on Saturday. You see that front start to slice on through as a big storm gets going close to the Atlantic seaboard as it moves up towards the Carolina coastline. That's going to be Saturday morning at 10. Note the temperature drop behind this front, hanging around 50 still at that hour in Orlando. Compare that, though, to the 20s and 30s in the Florida Panhandle. By the time the cold gets here, most of the moisture is gone. You may have seen some rumblings on the social media about some flakes in Central Florida. If that were to happen, you would need that area of low pressure I just showed you kind of develop right smack dab off the coast to send some moisture back in. That is not going to happen. The only shot, I think, for a few flakes in the Central Florida area, and that would be close to the Gulf Coast, it's going to be right Tampa, St. Pete, and then closer to the Big Bend because of what we call a Gulf effect flakes. It's just like lake effect snow. That is even out of the super rare, but you see that the cold wind over that little stripe of the Gulf right there could get a couple of flakes closer to Tampa. Not here in Central Florida. Sunday morning, though, it is going to be cold. 22 in the Villages, 22 in Ocala. Factor in a very stiff breeze, and that is the wind chill. Lower teens across most of Central Florida. Again, this chill is no joke. We haven't seen this cold since way back in 2010, so it's been a long, long time. 36 degrees on Thursday. We start to warm back up a little bit, warm in quotation marks. We're back to the upper 60s on Friday. There's that secondary front. We're going to struggle to get out of the 50s for highs, guys, with consecutive days in the 20s.
My goodness.
All right, Jonathan, thank you. A controversial Florida parking law survives a challenge in court.
Expectant moms can get a disabled permit with a doctor's signature. But coming up, why those with disabilities say this will make it even harder to find accessible parking.
This portion of the news is sponsored by Light Orlando.
A federal judge has upheld Florida's controversial pregnant parking law.
So the judge dismissed a lawsuit challenging the state law that allows expectant moms to get temporary disabled parking permits with a doctor's signature. Those permits are valid for up to 1 year and cost $15. The plaintiff, a disability rights advocate, argued pregnancy does not meet the legal definition of a disability and could limit accessible spaces. The judge dismissed the suit, saying the advocate failed to show she was directly harmed.
A man says he was riding his e-bike when a driver hit him and then just took off.
I went ahead and went, and boom, it was just broadsided. I mean, I was right in the middle of his hood.
Investigators say they have identified the driver who hit him. What we are learning, that's next. Welcome back. We are following several top stories right now.
Yeah, school leaders at Keens Crossing Elementary School tell us that they are currently on a hold. Now, the school is in Windermere. That's not far from the 429. We're working to figure out what's going on. And we did receive a tip, though, from law enforcement that it's in an area, they're in the area searching for something or someone. Your Orange County community correspondent Troy Campbell is there live right now. We're going to check in with him in just a couple of minutes. Today, we saw an anti-ICE protest outside of the Immigration Enforcement Office on Delegates Drive. This is in Orlando. It's part of a push to block an ICE detention center in Orange County. Orlando city leaders said that they could not stop the feds' plan for a potential facility in the city. However, Orange County leaders are proposing an ordinance that would impose a temporary moratorium on non-municipal detention facilities. And low enrollment is forcing Orange County Public Schools to close 7 campuses. Today's work session is not yet final, but one board member tells us it's pretty much a done deal. We're told it could be as early as March 10th when a final vote could happen.
Again, we are following that breaking news. School leaders at Keens Crossing Elementary School telling us they are currently on a hold.
The school, again, is on Keens Pheasant Drive in Windermere. Your Orange County community correspondent, Troy Campbell, just got to the scene. Troy, we know you were having some difficulties earlier. I think we can hear you a little bit better now.
Yeah, so some very important updates to show you here at the scene, so hopefully you can hear me well. Right now we are up to the scene as close as we can get. We are on Bluebird Park Road. We are in the Summerport neighborhood. We are several blocks away from that school. However, they do say it is on a hold. The reason for that, again, if you take a look behind me, you can see the Orange County Sheriff's Office has this entire area blocked off. They have several patrol vehicles in this area. We know residents have come up here asking to see if they can get to their homes, and they are told that they can't. Now, again, this is the area of Bluebird Park Road and Sonco Avenue in the Summerport neighborhood, and several patrol vehicles out here. We spoke with a couple residents out here who told me they first started seeing a scene out here at about 2:30, and they also say there's been some chatter in the neighborhood about a woman being injured. But again, we are trying to clarify that. However, residents out here, that is what they're telling us once we came out here and asked them what they have witnessed out here at the scene. And as we mentioned, Keens Crossing Elementary is on a hold. Now, they did release, the Orange County Public Schools did release a statement saying Keens Crossing Elementary School families were notified that the campus was placed on a secure due to police activity in the area unrelated to the school. All students and staff are safe. So again, good news for anybody who has students at that school. They might have heard about the hold and got alarmed during school release time. And of course, we are waiting for an update from the school district. But of course, right now, we are also waiting for an update from the Orange County Sheriff's Office to confirm to us just exactly what they are out here investigating. Of course, we will stay here and bring you an update as soon as we get it. Live in Orange County, Troy Campbell, News 6.
All right, Troy, thank you. Our other big story today, the cold wave that is here with an even stronger blast headed our way this weekend. Here's a live look at Mount Dora. Cold advisories and freeze warnings are in effect again tonight.
And our team has you covered for everything you need to know about this story. Meteorologist Julie Broughton is live at Blue Springs State Park, where manatees are trying to stay warm. But first, let's check in with meteorologist Jonathan Kegas for the latest. Jonathan.
Yeah, that's the place to be in that 72-degree water for sure. It's about 20 degrees warmer than the air temperature right now in Orlando. 53 is where we're at. We have been struggling to get out of the 40s today as expected right along the Volusia and Flagler coast. 46 is our current temperature in New Smyrna. We're at 53 in Melbourne, 51 degrees in Cocoa Beach. We are at 52 degrees in Bushnell. As we get even colder tonight, air temperatures close in on the freezing mark across more of Central Florida, so more widespread freeze warnings in play. We're going to take a closer look at that coming up in about 15 minutes. For more on the cold, where Julie is, as those manatees are trying to stay warm, we're going to send it back out to meteorologist Julie Broughton.
Jonathan, it is absolutely beautiful out here. We've seen so many manatees. When we drove into Blue Springs State Park, they said 241 manatees are enjoying the springs today. As we take a live look out there, we're not seeing a whole lot in our area right now, and that's kind of been the deal today. They just kind of stroll through. We saw a little family going through earlier, and it really is exciting when we see them. I find it so magical every time we see them. So manatee season runs through March, so you have plenty of opportunities, and especially when we're talking about temperatures staying in the 30s and even into the 20s this weekend. I think we'll see even more manatees hanging out here in that 72-degree water. Now remember, they need water at least 68 degrees. The record for manatees in Blue Spring was set 2 years ago in January 2024. That was close to 1,000, and at that time the water temperature in the St. Johns River near here was 58 degrees. I just checked. The current water in St. Johns River temperature is about 60.6 degrees. So as we see another several cold nights of just unusually cold weather, we could potentially see that water temperature dropping a little bit more, which means we will see more manatees and plenty of opportunity for you to come out here and visit the manatees. Now, I know you ladies also enjoy baby manatees, and we've heard a rumor that there are some twin babies out here. We haven't actually seen them yet, but that is our goal, to experience that with our own eyes. It really is.
That would be adorable.
Please don't leave until you get that picture. Julie, how are the crowds out there? It looks like it's pretty busy today.
You know, we have seen a lot of people, and we actually met a couple from New York, and they were so nice, and they were talking about the weather at home versus how nice it is here to be out in the sunshine, seeing the manatees. There aren't a lot of manatees in New York, it seems. So
no.
That's very nice for them.
Yeah, and this weather's probably warm for them, really, coming from New York right now.
Yeah, for sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right, Julie, thank you. Well, a man says he was riding an e-bike when a driver hit him, dragged him, then took off. This happened Friday morning in Palm Coast. Deputies say surveillance video helped them identify the SUV. That e-bike rider is now sharing his experience with News 6's Troy Campbell.
I went ahead and went, and boom, it was just broadsided. I mean, I was right in the middle of his hood.
75-year-old David Banks says he was riding his e-bike to the store up the street on Friday when he was hit by an SUV. He says after falling to the ground, he heard the vehicle drive away.
He killed it and just took off, so I was a little bit disappointed. I opened the door and just asked if you can drag my body out of the street or something. I mean,
the Flagler County Sheriff's Office says, according to surveillance video evidence, the vehicle is seen pulling forward and striking David on his e-bike, dragging the bike and him approximately 6 feet. Investigators say they eventually located the white Mazda SUV in a driveway along Beaver Dam Lane and noticed damage to the front driver's side fender. That's when deputies say they made contact with 38-year-old Andrea Matranga at the front door of the home, who immediately stated there was no crash before officers even spoke with him. A deputy wrote he attempted to take the door and with force attempt to slam the door on my foot, still yelling that he wanted me to get off of his property, attempting to completely shut the door. Officers say they went on to deploy a taser twice, but it was ineffective due to his baggy clothing. A third time would prove successful, and he was taken into custody on several charges, including leaving the scene of a crash with injury and battery on an officer. Blank says he's just thankful to be alive.
Because I don't hold malice towards anybody, but be a human being. I mean, at least check on somebody if there's a possibility that you might be able to help somebody. It's my lucky day. It's the way I look at it, you know? I mean, because it could have been terrible. It could have been terrible. So, you know, I feel blessed.
Deputies also say a relative of Matranga's did say he was diagnosed with schizophrenia. He did have a driver's license, but he was known to sneak out and drive around. Officials also say he was released on a $15,000 bond. In Flagler County, Troy Campbell, News 6.
The mental toll of being on the front lines. News 6 has reported extensively about the toll on firefighters and first responders, often called upon to deal with horrific tragedies. As your Orange County community correspondent Jana Manahalal reports, steps are being taken to protect first responders' mental health.
A house fire in Palm Bay, a 10-year-old boy killed, and a call firefighters will never forget.
From a boots on the ground first responder aspect of it, it's very, very difficult for them to want to do their job, and unfortunately they just weren't able to do that.
For Kimberly Buffkin, these calls have to be answered in the moment and processed in the time that follows.
We see a lot of things that your typical general public is not exposed to, so it's a lot to process. It's a lot for our workforce to deal with on a daily basis.
Recent data shows the suicide rate for firefighters is 18 per 100,000 compared to 13 per 100,000 for the general public. That is leading counties to make sure they're protecting those on the front lines. Orange County commissioners approved a $600,000 contract with the Central Florida Psychological Consultants to provide behavioral health evaluations for firefighters and paramedics to end the stigma of asking for help.
Many years ago, it was, you just have to deal with it, swallow it, put it to the back of your mind and deal with the next call. And we do have to do that because we have a job to do. However, at the end of the day, it is rough to deal with.
With evaluations designed to identify stress, trauma, and burnout, and the goal of intervening before a crisis. The state is also stepping in with a new law recognizing mental health and suicide prevention as a core part of firefighter safety, requiring best practices, peer support, and early intervention. The contract runs through 2026 with an option to extend for an extra year. In Orange County, I'm your community correspondent, Jana Manahalal, News 6.
Now, if you or someone you know is struggling with suicidal thoughts, you can call or text the Suicide and Crisis Lifeline. The number is on your screen, 988. It will connect you with someone who can help.
With more than a week of at or near freezing temps in store, first responders are getting ready for a possible increase in calls.
Even though it's Central Florida, we do have issues with hypothermia here.
We'll show you how they are getting ready and what you can do to avoid a fire.
This portion of the news is sponsored by Seminole Hard Rock Hotel and Casino.
If you're just joining us, we're following some breaking news out of Windermere this afternoon. Keens Crossing Elementary School is on a hold. It's due to an Orange County Sheriff's Office investigation that's happening nearby. This is in the area of Bluebird Park Road and Sonco Avenue. OCSO did confirm to us that this is a domestic-related shooting that happened inside a home just a few blocks away from that school, which is why they're taking such precaution here. They say a woman was shot and has life-threatening injuries. Deputies believe the suspect may still be in the home. We, of course, have crews on the scene and will continue to provide updates throughout the evening as soon as we get them on air and on clickorlando.com.
With more than a week of at or near freezing temperatures, first responders are gearing up for an increase in calls. I'm News 6's Mark Lehman, and we're in Lake Mary as emergency crews are getting ready for the cold, and we spoke with firefighters about their concerns.
When it comes to medical calls, that's our biggest concern.
Lieutenant Dave Williams' crew at Station 36 is expecting things to get busy over the next week. With a prolonged cold snap in the forecast, there will likely be more calls for people exposed to the frigid temps.
We look at pediatrics and elderly patients, or those who, like the homeless, who are outside for extended periods of time. Even though it's Central Florida, we do have issues with hypothermia here.
Firefighters are also bracing to respond to heater-related issues at homes.
It literally burns that dust off, so that's why you have that heating smell. So we do get a lot of those calls initially. After the first, second, third day, it starts dwindling down. But as far as active fires, we'll see a little bit of an increase, but not drastic.
Many of those fires will be because of space heaters.
If residents are going to use space heaters, just remember 3 feet away from any objects, don't use an extension cord. If you're using an extension cord for a space heater, you're using it in the wrong space.
In this time of year, Williams reminds homeowners to check their smoke detectors.
It's very important that you have working detectors. The recommendation is replace them every 10 years. Whenever we have a time change, every 6 months, change your batteries.
In Lake Mary, I'm your Seminole County community correspondent Mark Lehman, News 6.
All right, we want to check in now with our team of meteorologists who have been closely monitoring these temperatures because it is cold out there right now, and unfortunately, it's only going to get a lot colder, Jonathan.
That's the thing, yeah, it's going to be way colder. This is going to feel pretty much warm by the time we get to the weekend. It's going to be that much colder as we get into Saturday and Sunday, especially Sunday. 46 degrees in New Smyrna Beach right now, 48 in Daytona. We're at 49 at the Cape, 51 for us in Groveland, 50 degrees in Leesburg. That is our current temperature. We are starting to tumble as we are losing the sun as it is setting this evening. Now, this is where we wake up tomorrow, a degree or two colder than where we were today. That rivals the coldest air we felt so far this season. 28 in Ocala. We're at 25 degrees in Denellen, 29 in Palm Coast. Melbourne, a touch warmer, hanging around 40. Kissimmee, we are back to 35 degrees to start your day. Now, tomorrow afternoon, we do see a little improvement. Lots of sunshine again. Temperatures do get back to around 60. That is still about 10-ish degrees below where we should be for this time of the year. And we are going to continue to rise in the temperature department over the next couple of days. It's not going to be much, but slightly warmer. Winter Garden in Ocoee tomorrow. Again, starting things off pretty chilly. By 10 o'clock, we're back into the mid-40s. We're at 52 degrees by lunchtime, 56 by 2. Only topping out around 59, but sunshine again will be dominant, of course, through the afternoon. Locked into the winter pattern. So again, we are talking about these cold temperatures sticking around not only for the next couple of days, but really through the weekend and likely even a little bit beyond that, although subtle improvements. Big ridge of high pressure building in the east. That's what causes this kind of pattern to begin with. We are kind of locked in to that cold Canadian air that continues to slide on down. This is getting into Sunday into Monday. Big dip in the jet stream supplying that cold right on down to Florida. It extends pretty much down to the Bahamas. And all of that cold, again, that's been hanging up in the north as we've been talking about that, plunges down on Sunday. And here's what we wake up to. These are the actual air temperatures. 22 degrees in Ocala. We're going to spend about 12 to 14 hours below freezing. So again, this is a big time chill. 22 degrees in the Villages, 25 in Sanford. We're at 27 degrees in Orlando. That'd be the coldest morning since way back in 2010. In terms of the time spent below freezing, again, look at these numbers coming through. Sunday in Marion County, we're going to bottom out around 20 to 23 degrees throughout the county. The wind chill, it is going to be gusty still as a big storm gets cranking off the east coast of the United States. That's going to send wind chills to 10 to 14 degrees. Again, below freezing for about 9 to 13 hours. So again, it's the exposed pipes that you need to be worried about. If you didn't protect them the last time, make sure you do it this time because we are going to be pretty much double the amount below freezing this time around than compared to about 2 weeks ago. 13 degrees is what it's going to feel like in Sanford. Again, that is again the wind on your skin. 11 degrees in Palm Coast. It is going to be really, really cold Sunday and then again on Monday. Next 7 days, we're kind of in the thick of it. Again, there are improvements over the next few days after cold mornings. We're back to the upper 60s on Friday. Saturday, rain chances start to spike again. That's our next cold front. And then there's the big plunge, guys. A pair of 20s Sunday morning and Monday morning, still hanging around the freezing mark on Tuesday.
Jonathan, we're going to get through this together. Thank you. Well, you've probably seen this in your neighborhood a time or two. Someone wanted to know if it's illegal to block a sidewalk with a parked car.
Our traffic safety expert, Trooper Steve, has that answer next as we take a live look at Mount Dora. You're watching News 6. We'll be right back.
Coming up in the morning, coping with the dangerous cold. We have live team coverage as many areas are bracing for below freezing temperatures.
Plus, tackling traffic in Orange County's second largest city. We'll tell you what's being done to try to bring Apopka some relief.
Join us for News 6 Morning starting at 6.
We'll see you then.
Those pesky neighbors keep blocking the sidewalk with their cars. Is this illegal? Well, short answer, yes, it can be. So Florida Statute 316.1945 covers stopping, standing, and all those parking rules. And while most of us pull into a driveway and pretty much forget about it, the law says your vehicle cannot block a sidewalk, even if it's in front of your own home. That sidewalk is considered public right-of-way. It's meant to stay clear for pedestrians, people using wheelchairs, strollers, or kids walking to and from school. So even if that driveway is wide, if your bumper crosses that sidewalk, that's technically a violation. So bottom line, when you park, make sure that sidewalk stays open. It's a small move that makes a big difference for you and your neighbors. If you've got a traffic safety question you want me to answer it, head on over to clickorlando.com/AskTrooperSteve.
News 6 at 5 is next.
Anchor Matt Austin is in the newsroom with what's ahead.
Well, ladies, we're following some breaking news. A major law enforcement scene this afternoon outside of a school in Orange County. Coming up, we're taking you out there live with the latest update and the latest push for justice from a family. They are the family of the child deputies say was killed by 2 dogs last year in Volusia County. And your forecast is only minutes away. Looks can be deceiving today. Gorgeous day out on the coast, but when you feel it, oh, it's got a bite to it. Don't forget, you can stream all of our newscasts and live cameras like this gorgeous look at Daytona Beach for free anytime on News 6 Plus. We'll be right back.
Streaming on clickorlando.com and broadcasting live. You're watching News 6 at 5.
Good evening and thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Matt Austin.
And I'm Lisa Bell. We want to get you right over to some breaking news. Keens Crossing Elementary in Orange County confirmed to us they were on a secure hold over the past few hours.
Yeah, that school isn't far from the 429, and we've now learned a woman was shot not far from the school, according to the Orange County Sheriff's Office. They currently believe the suspect is still inside a home. Your Orange County community correspondent, Troy Campbell, is in the neighborhood with deputies. Troy, what do we know? Troy? All right, we apologize. We'll get back to Troy in a minute. More breaking news now. Orange City Police just confirmed they opened fire outside a bank in the past few hours, and a person is in the hospital. They tell us it's the Truist Bank right off Enterprise Road in the city. The Florida Department of Law Enforcement is there investigating, and the police chief tells us he'll do a press conference in the next hour or so. We're going to bring that to you live on clickorlando.com if you want to see it.
And make sure you have our News 6 app for the very latest updates on breaking news. Our app is free in your app store. Just search WKMG. Now to that dangerously cold weather that has settled into Central Florida.
Yeah, we want to make sure you're ready for it, so let's bring in our meteorologist, Jonathan Kegas. Jonathan, what can you tell us about this cold snap that's going to last a while?
Yeah, well, you might say ready for it. It's already here. I tell you, it's going to get even colder, and that's when we're talking about the real nasty stuff coming in for the weekend. Certainly it's cold, and tonight we are rivaling the coldest air that we have felt so far this season. That is why we have the freeze warnings back in play, expanded as we were talking about yesterday, now including everybody except us in Brevard. We're going to stay a few degrees above the freezing mark, but freeze warning again in play for Osceola back to Orange up the I-4 corridor and then northwest, where we had the freeze warning last night. Again, everybody should just have their plants covered, their pipes protected. Just keep it that way until we get onto the other side and the start of early next work week, because we're going to have these repeated rounds of cold, better than taking things back off and putting the sheet back over the plants. 52 in Mount Dora right now. We're hanging around 50 in the Villages. 50 degrees in Palm Coast. Tomorrow morning, we're waking up to the 20s and 30s, again nearing the freezing mark throughout Orange County. We're at 32 in Sanford. The Land, we are starting tomorrow at 30 degrees. Bigger blast of colder air arrives with a very strong cold front on Saturday. We're going to pinpoint the timeline of that and just talk about how cold it's going to be Sunday, really through the start of next work week, guys, in about 15 minutes.
Thank you, Jonathan. Some breaking news out of Arizona now. One person in critical condition after a shooting involving Border Patrol in southwestern U.S. This happened in Arizona near the U.S.-Mexico border. The sheriff says the area of that shooting is home to about 600 people, located an hour south of Tucson. The FBI asked the sheriff's office in that county to lead the use of force investigation, and it's doing its own separate investigation. We'll update you as soon as we learn more.
Here in Central Florida, Orange County leaders are wondering if they can block ICE from creating a detention center. It comes one day after Orlando city attorneys said they could not stop the feds' plan for a detention center. Your Orange County community correspondent Mike Valenti broke the news of the possible center and now has the county mayor's reaction to this. And Mike, the mayor is keeping options open, but those options do seem limited.
They do, Lisa, and we should start by saying that ICE has not yet agreed to lease the warehouse on the east side of the county, which is inside the city limits, to use it as a detention facility. On Monday, Orlando's city attorney sent a letter saying the city has no options in blocking the plan. Still, that legal opinion does not appear to be deterring the county.
At Tuesday's county commission meeting, Mayor Jerry Demings referenced the Orlando city attorney's legal opinion regarding the warehouse on Transport Drive in East Orlando, and promised the county would produce a legal opinion of its own.
That's within the city of Orlando's jurisdiction, as you know. What kind of legal avenues does the county have to try to prevent that plan? I mean, this comes in the wake of the legal opinion put out by the city attorney yesterday saying the city can't do anything. What can the county do?
Well, we believe in home rule, local home rule, whether or not pursuant to our joint planning agreement with the city of Orlando could be invoked as a result of the city's failure to do something. That's unknown.
On Monday, the Orlando city attorney told the council the city cannot take any action to limit federal immigration enforcement.
I think we're all aware of the supremacy laws, and I am very respectful of it.
Orange County Commissioner Nicole Wilson.
But there are statutes and provisions within the General Services Administration and how the federal government leases private land, private buildings, property.
Wilson has proposed an ordinance that would impose a temporary moratorium on non-municipal detention facilities. She argues this is a land use issue and that the county may have a stake, despite what Orlando's attorney concluded.
For me, doesn't provide enough information for us just to walk away from this issue.
Also at that commission meeting today, Mayor Demings floated the possibility of a lawsuit against the federal government over the current reimbursement rate for housing federal inmates at the Orange County Jail. Mayor says the county attorney's office is currently exploring legal options on that front as well. Guys? All right, Mike, thank you. We want to get back to that breaking news we've been following. Keens Crossing Elementary in Orange County confirmed to us they were on a secure hold over the past few hours. This is due to a shooting that took place nearby the school. Our Troy Campbell is out there on the scene. Troy, can you hear us now?
I can hear you guys. So taking a look here on the ground, you can take a look behind me. We're on Bluebird Park Road, and they're actually about to make this scene bigger. So after I'm done speaking with you, we've actually been instructed to go down another block. That's why you can see that they're removing some of that crime scene tape, because in a matter of minutes, where we're standing right now will technically be a part of this crime scene. So what we are being told is that the Orange County Sheriff's Office was called out here at about 2:30 this afternoon. Once they arrived, they found a woman who was suffering a gunshot wound. They described her wound as life-threatening. They transported her to the hospital. Now, deputies think the man who shot her is inside one of the homes here along Sonco Road and Blue Park Road. We're in the Summerport neighborhood. Now, this is only a few blocks from Keens Crossing Elementary. We spoke with the school district, and they said they did go on a secure hold due to this police activity. We have seen several parents come up to this scene saying that they're trying to get to the school. They're being instructed by deputies to go around. Also, neighbors in this area trying to get home, they're also being instructed to go around. Now, we did also recently see another sheriff's office vehicle. I'm trying to look at it. It says for hazardous material. That is a vehicle, a hazmat vehicle that has only recently got here on scene out here. And again, it does appear that this scene is slightly getting bigger with more patrol vehicles coming in. And again, right now, what we're going to do is we're going to move about a block over, and then the sheriff's office says they're going to put their crime scene tape right over here. Of course, we will continue to be here and bring you all the updates. Live in Orange County, Troy Campbell, News 6.
Troy, thank you. Today we saw an anti-ICE protest outside of the Immigration Enforcement Office on Delegates Drive in Orlando. Protesters are aiming to block that potential ICE detention center in Orange County that our Mike Valenti was talking about. Again, ICE has not leased the warehouse to use it as a detention facility as far as we know. Our Mike Valenti will continue to be following that story. Meantime, demonstrators in the Twin Cities are getting a bit of what they have demanded. Some of the 800 Customs and Border Protection agents sent as part of a larger federal force are now leaving, including Border Patrol Commander Gregory Bovino. Now on the ground, President Trump's border czar, Tom Homan, sent to manage operations and work with local leaders.
Any decrease in the numbers and the severity is just a huge relief to the community that's been suffering for months now.
The president says he will be paying attention to the investigation into Alex Preddy's death. Agents shot and killed the 37-year-old intensive care nurse on Saturday. After meeting with Homan, Minnesota Governor Tim Walz reiterated his priorities, including impartial investigations into the shooting deaths and a reduction in federal forces. Justice Department officials have said they are not investigating Renee Good's death, the other demonstrator who was shot and killed in the same city.
Well, attorneys for the two women who deputies say owned the dogs who killed a young boy were in court today. Michael Millett died when deputies say those dogs escaped from a nearby property. But the women are not facing charges for the death of Millett. Your Volusia County community correspondent Molly Reed has new evidence just released to News 6 by prosecutors.
Michael's family has shown up to every court hearing so far, including today. They want justice. Now, the two women who are being charged in this case, they skipped court today, but let their lawyer speak for them. This was supposed to be the final hearing before their trial, but it was pushed back after new evidence was submitted. At the same time, the Millett family has made a new push for justice.
This was a preventable death. At the end of the day, that's what this is. You know, my son should be here.
Michael's mom, Tiffany Cannell, has formally asked prosecutors to re-examine the case and consider more charges. In January 2025, Michael was attacked by two dogs that escaped. The dog's owners, Amanda Franco and Brandy Hodel, face felony tampering charges for deleting Facebook messages about the dog's troubles. Cannell believes they should also be charged with manslaughter for culpable negligence.
Her yard was not fenced in properly. So both of those things are in writing.
Body camera video just sent to News 6 shows the dogs running near the scene after the attack. Now that video is part of the original discovery list that I requested. I just got it. I also got the screenshots of those deleted conversations. They show a history of neighbors telling Franco the dogs got out. One from November 2024 shows Franco talking about the dogs escaping their property and attacking and killing neighbors' chickens. Then messages from the day of the attack show Hodel surprised the dogs got out again and attacked. The state attorney's office tells me prosecutors reviewed the case for months, considering manslaughter charges, but concluded there was not enough evidence to prove culpable negligence beyond a reasonable doubt, a must for manslaughter, and they're bound by Florida statutes and law. Their statement saying culpable negligence requires proof that a person wantonly and consciously followed a course of conduct that the defendant knew or reasonably should have known was likely to cause death or great bodily injury to another.
I think any other parent would do the same thing. You know, your child is killed. He no longer has a voice, so I'm his voice, and I just won't stop fighting for him.
And with the trial delayed for these tampering with evidence charges, another hearing is scheduled for March for a case update with a new trial date tentatively set for April. I'm your Volusia County Community Correspondent Molly Reed, News 6.
Major snow just fell on dozens of states across the country.
Now those states are feeling the impacts days after the storm. Next at 5, the infrastructure damage multiple states are just now beginning to see.
This portion of the news is sponsored by Launch Credit Union. If you're just joining us, we're following some breaking news out of Windermere. Keens Crossing Elementary School is on hold due to an Orange County Sheriff's Office investigation nearby. This is in the area of Bluebird Park Road near Sunco Avenue. Here's some video from that scene. OCSO did confirm to us this is a domestic-related shooting that happened inside a home that's a few blocks away from the school. They say a woman was shot. She has life-threatening injuries. Deputies believe the suspect could still be in that house. So we have crews on the scene. We're going to continue to give you updates throughout the evening. Stick with us for that. Well, several states are dealing with the crippling aftermath of a massive winter storm that dumped snow and ice across dozens of states.
Reporter Ivan Rodriguez is in Nashville, one of the areas dealing with tons of power outages.
The most significant infrastructure damage was across a swath of the South, where ice made roads slick, snapped tree limbs, and weighed down power lines. Northern Mississippi and Nashville, Tennessee in particular, are looking at prolonged recovery periods.
It is a historic ice storm, and so this is the largest single outage in NES history. We do not have these kinds of weather events all the time.
Nashville Electric Services says at its peak, 230,000 customers were without power. Although crews are working long hours to restore electricity, Brent Baker says they are facing many challenges.
We see trees in our way to get to where we need to go, and then once we get there, we have trees tangled in all of the mess. It's just a significant tree event that is causing a lot of complexity to get things done.
In Mississippi, officials say it's a similar struggle.
Our biggest focus is the northern portions of the state that have been hit so hard and still dealing with the lingering effects of this cold weather. My fear is that this ice event will be larger than that one in '94. My hope is that our restoration efforts and abilities have increased fourfold. But this will be an extended recovery.
After the state's historic ice storm in 1994, it took 23 days to fully restore power. I'm Ivan Rodriguez reporting.
All right, Jonathan, the cold in Florida is the big story, but we keep hearing the word on social media, snow.
Yeah.
Not much to talk about when it comes to that, though, right?
There's not. We're going to talk about it, but yeah, there's not much substance to it for sure. Now, big cold front coming through. We had one come through the other day. We have an even bigger one going to set even more cold back to central Florida as we move into the upcoming end of the work week and start of the weekend. Here is the front that does it all and got one rogue model run and a tizzy. Got everybody in a tizzy here. There is midnight as we get into Saturday. Look at the temperatures on the screen. As the moisture associated with that front on Saturday crosses through, everything is still way too warm to support any kind of snowfall. What happens here and what the one rogue model did, which is an unreliable model, that is the Canadian model, by the way, it put the area of low pressure that is way up here by the banner developing off the coast, and that would have been a little more plausible because then it would send some Atlantic moisture back down in our direction. The cold air coming in is also very, very dry. Now, what you see going on right here, these green kind of stripes, that's Gulf effect moisture, Gulf effect rain. It's too warm out there to produce any kind of snowfall. But where we do have the cold air coming in over the land, there is a very, very rare chance that you see these white lines coming out closer to the Nature Coast over the warmer Gulf right there. As it comes back in over the land closer to Tampa, maybe Cedar Key, St. Pete, the opportunity for maybe a few ugly-looking wet flakes early on Sunday morning as it draws in enough moisture coming over the warm Gulf. It's the same principle as lake effect snow along the Great Lakes, except it's over the Gulf, so we'll be watching that. But again, in terms of central Florida, look at the wind direction. Straight out of land, bringing in tons and tons of drier air. Should not see a flake here. All of the moisture associated with that front should be long gone. High temperatures tomorrow are going to be a little bit warmer than where we were today. Rain chances, though, back to 0%. We do have a few passing clouds out there. We're hanging around 60 degrees in Oviedo tomorrow, 61 in Groveland, back to the upper 50s in the Villages. Tomorrow morning, though, is going to be even colder than where we were today. We're back to the upper 20s in Ocala, back to Denell and Mount Dora. We're going to wake up around the freezing mark, 30 degrees in DeLand. High temperatures right now, again, getting back to where we were around 50 degrees in the Villages. 53 degrees back to Orlando. Now here's a look at your forecast.
Your forecast is sponsored by Payne Law.
So a few ups and downs. The ups are pretty subtle, though, over the next 7 days. We have air temperatures on Wednesday back to the lower 60s. That's tomorrow. Mid-60s on Thursday. Note, though, that we still have widespread 20s and 30s across the board. Doing a little bit better. That's one of our warmer days on Friday morning when we get back to the 30s and 40s. And then our warmest day still is right before that front comes through. High temperatures back to the upper 60s on Friday. Will only fall, relatively speaking, get a little bit warmer back to the mid-40s. Now, there's that front that we just showed you at the start of the weathercast here. 40% shot for those scattered downpours to come through. Behind it, though, coldest air since 2010 blasts in. We have consecutive days below 30 degrees. That's in Orlando. We're talking about low temperatures, low temperatures around 20 northwest of I-4. So this is a big-time blast of cold air, guys.
All right, Jonathan, thank you. With the cold weather, counties are taking action. For anyone that does not have heat, warming shelters will be open in several areas across Central Florida tonight and tomorrow. We have a complete list of every location on our website, clickorlando.com.
Well, it's been well documented over the past few years. Brick and mortar stores are having a hard time staying afloat.
And now that has led to another big business filing for bankruptcy. Coming up, why the parent company behind Saks Fifth Avenue is asking for legal life support in today's Dollars and Cents.
Your Tuesday evening traffic alert. Volusia, watch out. You'll have some ramp closures up towards US 92, north and southbound along I-95. Watch the detours. You do have some construction starting to ramp up within that area. Also, the attractions area, east and westbound lane closures. You'll see that. No complete shutdowns, but you will see some work being done. 528 closer towards 417 overnight. Just make sure you're cautious. I'm True Receiver with the News 6 traffic alert. Drive safely, and I'll catch you in the morning.
Here's a live look at downtown Orlando. Looking really nice tonight, feeling a little brisk. This is our Light Orlando Delivering Hope camera. You're watching News 6 at 5. We'll be right back.
Another major retailer is headed for bankruptcy, leaving consumers with fewer options and potentially higher prices. Online competition, shifting consumer habits, higher borrowing costs, and the aftershocks of the pandemic have made it harder than ever for some stores just to keep the lights on. Over the past decade, dozens of familiar retail names have vanished, from Toys R Us and Payless to Sports Authority, Stein Mart, and Joann. For all practical purposes, they're gone. Now, Saks Global, the parent company of Saks Fifth Avenue and Neiman Marcus, has filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy protection. The company recently took on billions in debt, spending $2.7 billion buying Neiman Marcus in 2024, one of its biggest competitors. But within a year, the bottom fell out. Saks and Neiman's have since struggled as luxury spending has softened. The bankruptcy filing isn't a going out of business sale, at least not yet, as Chapter 11 is considered a sort of legal life support. And for you, the consumer, under Chapter 11, gift cards and customer credits are usually honored. In its bankruptcy filing, Saks Global estimates that about $320 million of prepaid gift cards remained unredeemed. Separately, the company says they also have about $200 million in customer obligations tied to refunds and exchanges. Again, if a retailer is in Chapter 11, you're usually okay. If things get worse and the company slips into Chapter 7 liquidation, all bets are off. Saks Global is expected to close some locations. Less competition could translate to fewer deals for consumers. For Dollars and Cents, I'm Donovan Myrie.
Well, it's a change that's sure to impact thousands of families in one Central Florida school district.
Yeah, the district is set to potentially close 7 schools at the end of the school year. Coming up, the changes the district is already considering, even though there has not been a final vote.
And later, cold weather preps underway across much of Central Florida. What firefighters in one county are doing to make sure you are prepared. Here's a live look outside at Daytona Beach as we get close to sunset. Here you're watching News 6 at 5. Keep it here. We'll be right back.
Glad you're with us. I'm Lisa Bell.
I'm Matt Austin. You're watching News 6 at 5. We are following several top stories for you right now. Keens Crossing Elementary in Windermere has been placed on a hold status. Orange County Public Schools says the school on Keens Pheasant Drive currently following those hold procedures. The district tells us deputies found a woman shot at a home near the school. She was sent to the hospital with life-threatening injuries, and they believe the suspect might still be in that house. A live update from the neighborhood in minutes.
The two women who owned the dogs that Volusia deputies say killed an 8-year-old boy in DeLand had a hearing today as they prepare for trial. Deputies say Michael Millette was riding his bicycle last January when the dogs escaped from a nearby property and attacked him. This was supposed to be the final hearing before their trial, but now the trial is pushed back after new evidence was just submitted.
Today we saw an anti-ICE protest outside the Immigration Enforcement Office on Delegates Drive in Orlando. Protesters pushing to block a possible ICE detention center in Orange County. Orlando city leaders said they could not stop the feds' plan for a potential facility in the city. However, Orange County leaders are proposing an ordinance that would impose a temporary moratorium on non-municipal detention facilities. All right, we have meteorologist Julie Broughton standing by at Blue Springs State Park with a look at the cold out there.
But we want to begin with meteorologist Jonathan Kagas. And Jonathan, we are expecting some really unusual cold temperatures from this snap.
We are, yeah, especially as we get towards the end of this work weekend, really as we get into Sunday and Monday. That's going to be the unusual part. We've been in this ballpark about a week or two ago. We have temperatures now that are going to fall back into the 20s and 30s. This is what you're going to wake up to tomorrow morning. Freeze warning for most of Central Florida. Again, your plants should all be covered, things like that, and just keep them that way, even though we'll have some subtle warmth coming by the middle of the week. We're going to have even colder air coming in for the weekend, so just keep everything covered so you don't have to redo everything. Freeze warning in play again for almost everybody tomorrow, where it's going to be colder. I suspect we're going to see even more manatees, where meteorologist Julie Broughton is heading out for more on that. We're going to send things live to her.
Jonathan, we are talking about just really brisk conditions out here, but it has been a beautiful day. We've seen a whole lot of manatees out there. Right now, we're a little more lonely, not a lot of manatees where we are. We just saw a family swim by about maybe 5 minutes or so right before we went on. But this is how it looked a little bit earlier today. 241 manatees in the Springs today. Lots of folks were out enjoying those manatees, checking them out. In fact, we met a couple from New York who says this is a little different than what they typically see at home.
Sun was out, it was over 50 degrees, and we saw hundreds of manatees at Blue Springs State Park, and the water's so clear and the fish are so big, and it's just an amazing place.
Okay, I echo everything he says. Now remember, the water here is a constant 72 degrees. So anytime the water gets below 68 degrees or so, the manatees like to come on in. And even though they look kind of big, they don't have a lot of body fat, so their bodies can't really tolerate the colder water. It can do a lot of damage to them. So they are here, and manatee season typically is from about November to March. And as Jonathan was just telling us, we are looking at an extended stretch of temperatures at or below freezing as we head through the next several days. So if you'd like to come out and see the manatees here at Blue Springs State Park, which I highly recommend you do, you have several days to do so, and it seems that they are more active earlier in the day, so that is your pro tip. But really, they are just so wonderful to see. So it's been a great day.
It is always a great place to be this time of year. Julie, thank you. Schools closing and parents frustrated.
Yeah, low enrollment is forcing Orange County Public Schools to close 7 buildings. Your Orange County community correspondent, Tylisa Hampton, joins us live from OCPS tonight. So, Tylisa, although there hasn't been a final vote, it's looking like this thing might be a done deal.
That's exactly right, Matt. Now, they said no action would be taken during this work session, and no action was taken. However, board members said it was to understand where they are in this process. And at the end of it, it got a little bit more clear.
It's a change that will impact thousands of families.
From what you have heard is maybe the #1 concern from people.
Don't close my school. But that may be inevitable as the Orange County School Board discussed the controversial consolidations, with 7 schools set to close due to declining enrollment.
Including declining birth rates, expanded school choice, legislative changes allowing co-location of charter schools, as well as changes to immigration policies.
Over the past 3 years, there's been 8,600 fewer students, causing a reduce in funding. Although there's yet to be a final vote, the board is going over maps and strategies for rezoning.
121 elementary students residing and attending Bonneville Elementary School
recommended to be moved to Eastlake Elementary School.
The board considering all options, each one with a direct impact on students and families.
What made option 2 different from option 1?
We were increasing Columbia, but Eastlake was kind of staying flat, and their numbers were very low, far below their capacity levels. So my main intent was to ensure that both schools flourish.
Board members point to state funding, calling on the legislator to fix, and issues that aren't isolated to Orange County, although admitting if things don't change, more closures might not be avoidable.
I wasn't going to say this, but we're projected, I believe, for another 5,000 fewer students next year. And so while I wish I could sit up here and say this is the last of our consolidations, I'm afraid that that would be an untrue statement.
So you just heard from the superintendent right there on how things might look next year when it comes to those fewer students and consolidations. As for the matter that they talked about today, they said this is not the last meeting. They have another one scheduled next week. As for that final vote, that is expected to happen in March. Reporting in Orange County, I'm News 6's Tylisa Hampton.
Tylisa, thank you. Now at 5, a Brevard County couple is facing serious charges tonight after a family member reported them for animal abuse. A warning here, the video you're about to see can be upsetting. So take a look at Tara. Look how skinny she is. Investigators say James Preston and Heather Ballantyne adopted her, promised they could provide her special meds. Instead, deputies say Tara was neglected, nearly starved to death. A family member noticed she was malnourished, called law enforcement. The sheriff says she was a 1 on a health scale that runs 1 to 9. Sheriff Wayne Ivey says Tara is slowly recovering after seeing a vet team. Preston and Ballantyne are charged with animal cruelty and unlawful confinement. Well, it's been more than a decade since Rolling Hills Golf Club closed in the Longwood area, and now it looks like construction's finally about to begin to turn the old course into a community park. Your Seminole County community correspondent, Catherine Silver, taking a look at the plans and how soon it could work out.
The revamp of Rolling Hills has been a long time coming for people like Luke Fulford.
How long have you lived here in Rolling Hills?
About 10 years.
He remembers when the course was the centerpiece of this community. After it closed, homeowners here fought a plan to put houses in its place.
I used to play golf at Rolling Hills a long time ago, so I'm sad that's gone, but I'm just glad they're not doing houses.
The county bought it back in 2018 and promised to turn the property into a public park, but hit roadblocks along the way, including the discovery of contaminants on the old golf course land.
Just a lot of moving pieces with this.
Rick Durr is the director of Parks and Recreation.
We've had groundwater remediation to deal with. We've had soil remediation. All of that's been completed.
I've owned 2 homes in that neighborhood, lived there for 20 plus years, that we were all very well advised of it.
On Tuesday, commissioners addressed the history and what's ahead as they signed off on the $20 million price tag.
There will be a 4-mile loop trail throughout the property. We'll also have landscape upgrades. It will be all ADA accessible.
This is an overview of Phase 1. It also includes improvements to infrastructure within the neighborhood, to utilities and roads. It starts near North Street. It seems like after so many years, this will be a big year for Rolling Hills. When can we expect construction to start?
We will have signed contracts with the contractor here shortly once the board finishes up with business, and then the contractor will start to mobilize. They would be starting that in earnest in about March.
In Seminole County, Catherine Silver, News 6.
Well, what happens when road construction is blocking access to your favorite business?
Some of you told us about a situation in Sanford where people cannot get to restaurants and shops. So Trooper Steve is checking it out in downtown Sanford on today's Trooper Steve on Patrol.
We go tackle either traffic-related questions, law enforcement style interviews, or your complaints, and that's what I'm tackling today. So I was recently made aware of, this guy's just biking all over the place, aware of some serious construction projects taking place in downtown Sanford. Because construction just doesn't need to happen on the highways or main roadways, they happen in our local communities. The biggest problem is, though, who do they affect? And this is what the goal, my point is today, is what certain construction projects do. Sometimes they affect our commute, but a lot of the times they affect small businesses. We're going to head west on 2nd Street here, and you can see brand new repaving, new sidewalks, all good looking stuff, but it does come with a cost. What is that cost? The detours. So here, right here at 2nd Street and what is the cross? But we get stuck. You can't continue. So what happens? You have to detour yourself onto Magnolia.
So you can watch the full story in this article on clickorlando.com. Hit the road with Trooper Steve on patrol weekdays at 8 a.m. and 8 p.m. on the News 6 Plus streaming app for your smart TV or clickorlando.com.
We've been telling you about Seminole County's new rideshare program called Scout and some of the problems popping up like long wait times. Well, now we are aware of another problem. Tons of cancellations. So county officials say riders will now be limited to 2 ride cancellations per day in the app. Leaders say it's all to keep trips reliable and vehicles available. After 2 cancellations, rides can still be booked, but only by calling. Seminole County says with more than 900 passenger trips in just one day last week and a similar number of cancellations, the updates will help keep the rideshare service running smoothly. Well, if you thought this morning was cold, just wait. It is just the beginning.
That's right. First responders are taking notice and preparing to keep everybody safe. Coming up, the preparations underway by one fire department to ensure they're ready for any and all weather-related calls.
And later, how one local county is helping solve the stigma around mental health of firefighters.
This portion of the news is sponsored by Shark Coatings.
If you're just joining us, we're following some breaking news out of Windermere, keeping tabs on Keens Crossing Elementary School, put on hold today due to an Orange County Sheriff's Office investigation nearby. It's in the area of Bluebird Park Road near Sonco Avenue. We have this video from the scene. OCSO did confirm to us that this is a domestic-related shooting that happened inside a home blocks away from the school. A woman was shot, has life-threatening injuries, and there's still a suspect inside this home, they tell us. We have crews on the scene. We're going to continue to give you updates throughout the evening. Keep tabs on that. Well, Central Florida is loading up for an unusually cold stretch over the next week or more.
The low temperatures and the length of this cold snap is leading first responders to gear up for an increase in weather-related calls. Your Seminole County community correspondent Mark Lehman shows us the preparations being taken by firefighters.
Temps dipping into the 30s and even 20s on some days over the next week. That's what our News 6 weather app is showing. And that also has emergency crews gearing up for the impact. And we spoke with firefighters about their concerns.
When it comes to medical calls, that's our biggest concern.
Lieutenant Dave Williams' crew at Station 36 is expecting things to get busy over the next week. With a prolonged cold snap in the forecast, there will likely be more calls for people exposed to the frigid temps.
We look at pediatrics and elderly patients, or those who, like the homeless, who are outside for extended periods of time. Even though it's Central Florida, we do have issues with hypothermia here.
Firefighters are also bracing to respond to heater-related issues at homes.
It literally burns that dust off, so that's why you have that heating smell. So we do get a lot of those calls initially. After the first, second, third day, it starts dwindling down. But as far as active fires, we'll see a little bit of an increase, but not drastic.
Many of those fires will be because of space heaters.
If residents are going to use space heaters, just remember 3 feet away from any objects. Don't use an extension cord. If you're using an extension cord for a space heater, you're using it in the wrong space.
In this time of year, Williams reminds homeowners to check their smoke detectors.
It's very important that you have working detectors. The recommendation is replace them every 10 years. Whenever we have a time change, every 6 months, change your batteries.
In Lake Mary, I'm your Seminole County community correspondent Mark Lehman, News 6.
All right, and that cold weather already here. Unfortunately, though, only going to get even colder.
Yeah.
And we're in this for several days, Jonathan.
We are. You keep on saying unusual. And the unusual part to it is not only the intensity of it once we get to the weekend for Central Florida standards, but the longevity, as you mentioned earlier, that it's not our couple-day typical, okay, we'll flirt with the freezing mark and then bounce back up. We're really not bouncing that far up. We're at 51 right now in Oviedo. Titusville, good evening. We're at 51 degrees. Mims, we're in the lower 50s. New Smyrna, it's been chilly all day, 47. Palm Bay, we're at 52. The Villages, we are back to 48 degrees right now. Now, tomorrow morning, it is going to be a couple degrees colder than what we woke up to today. So just shave off about a degree or two. The one positive note, if you want to call it a positive, the wind does back off. So it won't be as blustery tomorrow morning when you wake up. We're at the freezing mark in Leesburg, 24 in Denellen. Palm Coast, we're back to 29. Titusville at 35. Melbourne, we're waking up tomorrow at 39 degrees. That is why we're the only county right now not in the freeze warning, because we should stay a couple of notches above that freezing mark induced by the warmer Atlantic Ocean. Now here's a look at your afternoon.
Your forecast is sponsored by Advent Health.
Air temperatures jumping back up to around 60. That's still about 10 to 15 degrees below where we should be. Ocala, we're at 58. Palm Coast, we're at 57. Rain chances tomorrow, 0%. Sunshine will be dominant once again. Winter Garden in Ocoee, good evening. We're starting things off again into the mid-30s. By 10 o'clock, we're jumping back to the mid-40s. We're at 52 degrees by lunchtime and then pushing 60. So it is a fast warm-up, if you want to call it that, tomorrow. But again, we're running about 10 to 15 degrees below normal. The longevity of this stretch brought to you by this giant ridge of high pressure that's building into the west. It's keeping us connected right basically to the Hudson Bay and into the Arctic Circle. And all that air just continues to work its way back down east of the Rockies. So the eastern two-thirds of the country going to be frigid really through at least Groundhog Day as we get into February 2nd. For us, it's going to take us a little while longer to pull out of it. And I think we're going to be talking about below normal temperatures really all the way through the first week of February. Not as cold as what this is going to be on Sunday and for the rest of your weekend, but nonetheless, we're going to be below normal for a while. 24 in Leesburg, Sanford, we are at 25. Palm Coast, Sunday morning, we are back to 22 degrees. So again, this is cold that we have not felt since way back in 2010. So this certain round of cold air means something for sure. In terms of Lake County, again, certainly want to make sure you're protecting everything. We're going to be below freezing about double the time that we were with our most recent blast of cold. That's going to put us about 8 to 12 hours below freezing. So again, exposed pipes, Interior pipes should still be okay, but exposed pipes going into the house or any kind of faucets like that outside, I want to make sure those are protected. If you didn't do it the last time around, again, double the opportunity below freezing. Now, with the wind involved, it is going to be gusty as this front comes through. It's going to be feeling more like the teens. So this front means business, guys. There's our subtle warm-up getting into the end of this work week, back to the upper 60s. And then the big blast of cold, pair of 20s Sunday morning and Monday morning, only back to the upper 50s by Tuesday.
Jonathan, thank you. Well, they're on the front lines of tragedy, and it really takes its toll.
Yeah, we all know the help that firefighters give, but who is helping them with their struggles? We'll have that for you coming up, including how one local county is helping solve the stigma of mental health with firefighters.
Coming up in the morning, coping with the dangerous cold. We have live team coverage as many areas are bracing for below freezing temperatures.
Plus, tackling traffic in Orange County's second largest city. We'll tell you what's being done to try to bring Apopka some relief.
Join us for News 6 Morning starting at 6.
We'll see you then.
Here's a live look at Daytona Beach. Got to show you this sunset here. You're watching News 6 at 5. We'll be right back. Well, the mental toll can be heavy being on the front lines.
News 6 has reported extensively on firefighters and first responders called to deal with horrific tragedies and how it weighs heavily on them. And now they are the ones getting some help from Orange County commissioners. Your Orange County community correspondent Jana Manahalal reports on the change that could save firefighters' lives.
A house fire in Palm Bay, a 10-year-old boy killed, and a call firefighters will never forget.
From a boots on the ground first responder aspect of it, it's very, very difficult for them to want to do their job and unfortunately, they just weren't able to do that.
For Kimberly Bufkin, these calls have to be answered in the moment and processed in the time that follows.
We see a lot of things that your typical general public is not exposed to, so it's a lot to process. It's a lot for our workforce to deal with on a daily basis.
Recent data shows the suicide rate for firefighters is 18 per 100,000 compared to 13 per 100,000 for the general public. That is leading counties to make sure they're protecting those on the front lines. Orange County Commissioners approved a $600,000 contract with the Central Florida Psychological Consultants to provide behavioral health evaluations for firefighters and paramedics to end the stigma of asking for help.
Many years ago, it was, you just have to deal with it, swallow it, put it to the back of your mind and deal with the next call. And we do have to do that because we have a job to do. However, at the end of the day, it is rough to deal with.
With evaluations designed to identify stress, trauma, and burnout, and the goal of intervening before a crisis. The state is also stepping in with a new law recognizing mental health and suicide prevention as a core part of firefighter safety, requiring best practices, peer support, and early intervention. The contract runs through 2026 with an option to extend for an extra year. In Orange County, I'm your community correspondent, Jada Manahalal, News 6.
Now, if you or someone you know is struggling with suicidal thoughts, you can call or text the number on your screen, 988. It will connect you with someone who can help you through the difficult time and provide further help if the phone call is not enough. Ginger Gadsden is in the newsroom with what we are working on for News 6 at 6.
Lisa and Matt, we are tracking some frigid temperatures continuing for the rest of this week and well into the weekend. Plus, we now know after deputies swarmed a Windermere neighborhood, putting an elementary school on hold, we know what happened. We have a live report from the scene. And this is a live look at downtown Orlando. It is beautiful sunset out there. This is from our Light Orlando Delivering Hope camera. We'll have a check on your cold forecast with meteorologist Jonathan Kegas when we come back. You're watching News 6.
Streaming on clickorlando.com and broadcasting live. You're watching News 6 at 6.
We begin with some breaking news right now out of Windermere.
An elementary school just now getting let out after a woman was shot inside a home that was nearby. This happened around 2:30 this afternoon in the area of Sunco Avenue, not far from Keens Crossing Elementary School, which was put on a hold as a precaution.
So we have team coverage out there right now. News 6 investigator Mike DeForest is reporting students are finally being released at 6 o'clock. Let's start, though, with Troy Campbell, who's breaking down what led to all this. Troy.
Yeah, Matt and Ginger, I can tell you that this scene is getting bigger. We have been watching in the past hour at least more than a dozen more SWAT vehicles show up here. We're also about a block further over than where we were the last time I came to you because investigators said they were making the scene larger. So right now we're on Beach River Road and also Bluebird Park Road. This is the Summerport neighborhood. Now we're being told that the reason for all of this is that shooting suspect is barricaded inside one of the homes here. The Orange County Sheriff's Office says their deputies were called out to the 14,000 block of Sonco Avenue at about 2:30 this afternoon. They say once they arrived, they found a woman out here suffering from at least one gunshot wound. We're told her injuries are described as life-threatening and they rushed her to the hospital. However, deputies say they believe the man who shot her is inside one of the homes here. Now, we've been watching as more patrol vehicles, including a hazmat team vehicle, showed up to the scene. Several neighbors out here are trying to get home. They're being told that this area is currently, blocked off as part of the scene. And just a few blocks of here, of course, is Keens Crossing Elementary. OCPS did release a statement saying that they were on a secure hold. They did go ahead and confirm that none of the activity directly involved the school. They said all students and staff were safe. Now, we spoke with a resident out here who says she was just on her way to the gym when she noticed her route was blocked by this law enforcement presence. Take a listen to that. How would you describe this scene?
This, like a crime scene, I don't know. It's pretty scary. Like we were going to the gym, me and my friends, and then suddenly we see all this and we don't understand what was happening.
And is it kind of like unnerving, a little scary?
Yeah, it is. It is because there are a lot of police cars here.
Yeah, as you can imagine, just neighbors coming home to this scene, trying to get home and noticing and wondering what is going on. The Orange County Sheriff's Office saying it is a very fluid situation, but we can confirm several more SWAT vehicles have arrived here on scene within the past hour. And as we mentioned, just a few blocks from here is Keens Crossing Elementary. OCPS said they were on a secure hold earlier today. My colleague, Mike DeForest, he is live now over at the school with an update. Mike, what are you seeing out there?
Well, hey, Troy, yeah, we're right out in front of Keens Crossing Elementary School. You can see it's a very active scene here. We've got Keens Crossing Elementary here on the left, and then right across the street are a bunch of townhomes where police, law enforcement have the road blocked off, lots of police cars. Let's look back at the school. Again, we are in the Summerport neighborhood of Horizon West. Very familiar with this because I actually used to live out here a couple of years ago, and normally you would see kids out leaving school. That has not happened today because for the past 3 hours, kids have been stuck inside that building for this safety hold. Now, when we first showed up here, maybe about a half hour ago, there were a stream of cars coming in of parents picking up their students. We do not have official word from Orange County Public Schools on how this release is technically taking place right now, but clearly students have been released. In fact, it looks like it has slowed down quite a bit. We haven't seen as many parents now going in and leaving with students, so we can only speculate that perhaps most of those students have now been taken out of the school. And again, you can see why it's so crazy because the school's here. This unrelated police action is right across the street. And this is a big police action. I can hear occasionally a police officer on a bullhorn shouting something towards the house. We don't know exactly what it is. Meanwhile, now that it appears students are getting mostly out of that school, the sheriff's office is now using this parking lot for Keens Crossing Elementary to stage their SWAT vehicles. In just the last 15 minutes or so, we've seen a major fleet of law enforcement vehicles start to take position inside the parking lot of this elementary. So as kids leave, SWAT moves in, and it appears law enforcement is getting ready for perhaps quite a while of a long night here as they try to take care of what's happening over in this neighborhood. So all is quiet right now, but it has certainly been a hectic scene for the parents whose kids have been stuck here for close to 3 hours now. I'm going to send it back to you guys there in the studio.
Yeah, that is a late dismissal. Mike DeForest, thank you. Some good information there. Developing now in less than 10 minutes, we should learn more about what led up to an officer-involved shooting at a bank in Orange City today. The Orange City police tell us one person is being treated at the hospital. Happened at the Truist Bank off Enterprise Road. Police chief is giving a press conference that is set for 6:15. Stick around because we'll bring it to you live whenever that happens. You can stay up to date on all of these developing stories by going to clickorlando.com. You can also download our News 6 app to get push alerts directly to your phone.
All right, well, this frigid Florida weather is going to stick around for a bit.
Yeah, we want to get you right over to our meteorologist, Jonathan Kegas, as some parts of Central Florida could see the 20s in the coming days.
And I think it's going to be pretty much everybody that's going to see the 20s by the time we get into the weekend. A few of us tonight, I think we'll shave off a degree or two from where we were last night and what you woke up to this morning. Here's what I'm expecting for tomorrow morning, close to the freezing mark throughout interior Central Florida. We are close along the Brevard coast, just not as cold. We'll wake up to temperatures into the mid-20s in Marion County, 24 in Denellen, Daytona Beach. We're going to be close to the freezing mark tomorrow as well. That is why we have the freeze warning in play. Again, this is for your plants. Make sure you keep them covered, not only for tonight, but just keep them covered for the rest of the week because it's going to get even colder over the next couple of days as we get into the upcoming weekend. Right now, it's chilly, and certainly as we lose the sunshine, it's going to feel much colder. 48 in the Villages. Groveland, we're at 49. 49 also in Oviedo this evening. We take the plunge over the next couple of hours back to the upper 30s already by 11, low to mid 30s by the time most wake up tomorrow. Again, upper 20s northwest of I-4. We'll talk about the bigger chill sliding in for the weekend. Coldest in potentially 15 years, guys, settles in. We'll have that forecast at about 6:17.
All right, Jonathan, thank you. Some national news tonight. One person is in critical condition after being shot by Border Patrol in Arizona. This is near the southern border. The shooting happened about an hour south of Tucson. The Pima County Sheriff's Department said it was working with the FBI and U.S. Customs and Border Protection in response to the shooting in Arivaca, Arizona. Now, the FBI says it's investigating an assault on a federal officer. As soon as we learn more about what's going on here, we'll keep you updated here on News 6 and on clickorlando.com.
Meanwhile, here at home, Orange County leaders are working on blocking an ICE detention center from opening in Orlando.
This all comes one day after Orlando said it could not stop the Fed's plan for a facility. The county is going in another direction. Now, your Orange County community correspondent, Mike Valenti, joins us now live. He's in the newsroom. And Mike, the county is keeping its options open, but it seems pretty limited here.
Ginger, it does right now, and we should start by saying that ICE has not yet leased the warehouse on the east side of the county inside the city limits to use it as a detention facility. On Monday, Orlando's city attorney sent a letter saying the city has no options in blocking the plan. Still, that legal opinion does not appear to be deterring the county.
At Tuesday's County Commission meeting, Mayor Jerry Demings referenced the Orlando city attorney's legal opinion regarding the warehouse on Transport Drive in East Orlando and promised the county would produce a legal opinion of its own.
That's within the city of Orlando's jurisdiction, as you know. What kind of legal avenues does the county have to try to prevent that plan? I mean, this comes in the wake of the legal opinion put out by the city attorney yesterday saying the city can't do anything. What can the county do?
Well, we believe in home rule, local home rule, whether or not pursuant to our joint planning agreement with the city of Orlando could be invoked as a result of the city's failure to do something. That's unknown.
On Monday, the Orlando city attorney told the council the city cannot take any action to limit federal immigration enforcement.
I think we're all aware of the supremacy clause, and I am very respectful of it.
Orange County Commissioner Nicole Wilson.
But there are statutes and provisions within the General Services Administration and how the federal government leases private land, buildings, property.
Wilson has proposed an ordinance that would impose a temporary moratorium on non-municipal detention facilities. She argues this is a land use issue and that the county may have a stake, despite what Orlando's attorney concluded.
For me, doesn't provide enough information for us just to walk away from this issue.
Okay, so you heard Commissioner Wilson mention the General Services Administration. That's the agency that deals with things like leasing office space for the federal government. She pointed to 2 laws, one of which requires GSA to consult with local planning agencies and local elected officials to ensure that federal projects are consistent with local zoning and development objectives. Guys?
All right, Mike Valenti live in the newsroom. Thank you, Mike. Developing tonight in Volusia County, after initially saying there would be no arrest, a 14-year-old is facing charges in connection to a door-kicking prank that led to a dog's death in Deltona. We told you yesterday about a woman demanding justice after her Yorkie was killed in this prank back in December. The Volusia Sheriff's Department says teens kicked in the door, allowing the dog to get out and then eventually get hit by a car. After your Volusia County community correspondent Molly Reed started asking more questions about why no one had been charged, the sheriff's office took another look at this case and found new leads. Now, we're not naming the teen, but they are facing burglary and criminal mischief charges.
Still to come on News 6 at 6, we're following some major stories for you.
In just minutes, we are expecting to learn more about an officer-involved shooting that happened in Orange City. Plus, the long-standing cold weather is sticking around here in Central Florida. Here's a live look now at downtown Orlando with our Light Orlando Delivering Hope camera. We're checking in with meteorologist Jonathan Kegas for another look at your frigid forecast.
This portion of the news is sponsored by Advent Health. We're continuing to follow a lot of breaking news for you tonight. A big one, deputies investigating a shooting in Windermere that put an elementary school on hold. Students were just getting out as of minutes ago.
We have 2 crews live at the scene right now, one in the neighborhood and one right outside of that school where students are finally, we're told, being released. Here's what we know so far. The Orange County Sheriff's Office says this is a domestic-related shooting that happened inside a home just a few blocks away from that school. They say a woman was shot and has life-threatening injuries. Deputies believe the suspect may still be in that home.
All right, we want to take you to our other breaking situation we're dealing with right now. A police chief is speaking about an officer-involved shooting that's in Orange City at a Truist Bank. Let's listen in.
Towards 3 other businesses at that time. We tried to de-escalate the situation by verbally talking to him. Also, we used a taser, which it was not effective at the time. He continued on down Enterprise Boulevard here to Truist Bank. At that time, we gave him more verbal commands not to enter the business where there was occupied by employees and clients of the bank. At that time, a shot was fired, and we rendered aid at the time, secured him and rendered aid. He was taken to a local hospital for treatment. I would just ask that, if anybody else has any video or witnessed this incident, to please reach out to the Orange City Police Department. And our partners here from the Florida Department of Law Enforcement are here on scene to lead this investigation, which is standard in a police officer shooting.
Chief, we've heard reports from witnesses that this suspect was stabbing himself. Was that the case? And do you think this was a death by cop situation?
I don't know if it was a death by cop. I know that he was bleeding. I have not spoken to any of the witnesses, so everything is still under investigation. It's still early on here.
And the first business that he was at, you said the 2500 block, what business was that and what happened there?
He was in front of Olive Garden, and then he walked over to Jiffy Lube.
Did he ever actually go inside of the bank?
Yes, he did.
How many people were there at the time, and were there any situations that happened there prior to your officers arriving?
That I don't know. Have not had an opportunity to speak with my officer. I know that it was full of employees, and I know they said they had some clients inside of the bank at the time.
What condition is this man in the hospital? Do we know?
He was.
All right, that's information we're learning about that officer-involved shooting, learning that the suspect apparently had a knife as he went into that bank.
Yeah, strange situation as he appeared to be bleeding. They're not sure why, as then police shot him and then rendered aid after that. A lot more to learn in that story, and if you want to keep checking that out, it's at clickorlando.com. We'll give you updates both on air, and you can download our News 6 app for push alerts directly to your phone.
All right, time now for a look at the story that we all have been talking about and all will be impacted by. That is the cold weather that has already arrived, but we haven't seen the worst of it yet.
We have not. That's going to arrive as we get into the upcoming weekend, especially Sunday and Monday. Those are the 2 days to circle as the coldest air will settle in. Not only the coldest air of the season, but likely going all the way back to 2010. So it's been a long time now since we've seen this repeated blast of cold. Oviedo, we're at 49. DeLand, good evening. We are at 48 degrees. We're taking the tumble back to the low to mid 40s already in Wildwood. 48 degrees for us in the Villages. It's a live look now in downtown Orlando. Skies have been crystal clear as expected. That's a live look with our Light Orlando. Delivering Hope Sky Cam tonight. Air temperatures hanging around 50 under a mainly sunny sky. That sun going down quick with the breeze out of the north at about 5 to 10 miles an hour. Now, tomorrow morning, it's going to be a degree or two colder than where we were today. If you want to take a positive out of the deal, the breeze is not going to be as stiff, so it's all relative, but it is very cold. Again, 24 in Denellen, 26 in Ocala, hanging around 32 in Sanford. Mount Dora, we are going to wake up tomorrow at 32. Palm Bay, good evening. Tomorrow, we're going to start things off at 36, 32 in Holopop. Now, here's a look at your afternoon.
Your forecast is sponsored by Strata Services.
A little bit better tomorrow, back to around 60. A lot of sunshine. Not going to help much if you're standing in the shade, but we're back to the low 60s at the Cape. 62 degrees in Cocoa Beach tomorrow, also that mark for us in Melbourne. Then we will fast forward to Friday. Most of these mornings coming up leading up to Friday will be hanging around the freezing mark as well. So this is going to be extended again. There's the front blasting through as we move into the latter stages of Friday into Saturday, giving us a decent shot of rain as well. That's going to be Saturday around midnight, and that continues into the first half of Saturday. And then you see the temperatures tumble again. Compare that from 50 degrees in Orlando by early Saturday morning to the mid-20s now. You see the arrows representing the wind direction. This one will also feature the winds cranking up big time. They all see a little bit of blue on the map show up. A lot of noise on social media about the potential for some flakes in Central Florida. Here's the deal. If that was going to happen, we would need that area of low pressure to develop pretty close to the coast and then send back some Atlantic moisture in our direction back into the freshly injected cold air through the Florida Peninsula. It's developing too far to the north and east. I don't think we're going to see anything, at least in Central Florida, where there is a very teeny tiny shot for maybe a few flakes early on Sunday morning. It's going to be right along the Gulf Coast. Note the arrows here. You've heard of lake effect snow before. With the Great Lakes, this is kind of Gulf effect moisture. The colder air going over the warmer water could bring out a few flakes right along the Gulf Coast. The air would be way too dry inland to support really anything else. It's going to be cold, though. Sunday morning, 25 in Sanford. We are at 24 in New Smyrna, 21 in Ocala. It's also going to be windy, as mentioned, as this front comes through with that bigger system developing up the east coast of the United States. Wind chills in the teens for the most part, and it could feel even colder than that with the winds gusting to 30 to 40 miles an hour late Saturday evening. 64 on Thursday. There's our little improvement, guys, back to around 70 on Friday. 40% shot for rain, though, as we get into Saturday. That's the front. And then we have consecutive days in the temperatures in the 20s. That's widespread. Mid-20s on Sunday. Same deal on Monday morning. First time that has happened, guys, since 2010. That's the number. Really cold.
Nobody's going to be complaining about 67, Jonathan.
I don't think so.
All right, Sports Director Jamie Say is here now.
Jamie, the best golfers in the world are about to tee off in Central Florida.
Yeah, they sure are. The Tournament of Champions brings the best players from the LPGA Tour to Lake Nona, and it brings some players who are way better at other things like acting and playing baseball and doing the Carlton dance.
Oh, wow.
It starts Thursday. Coming up, the celebs who will tee it up with the best players in the world next. Welcome back to News 6. The Hilton Grand Vacations Tournament of Champions is going to be fun and a little frosty this week. On Thursday, the best players from the LPGA Tour tee off their season at Lake Nona Golf and Country Club. And as always, celebrities from entertainment and sports are playing alongside them. This morning, News 6 was at Lake Nona for the tournament's annual Break the Glass Challenge. World Series champ Kevin Millar got it done on his first try. Soccer analyst Taylor Twellman and former Orlando Magic guard Courtney Lee accomplished the mission too. Larry the Cable Guy did not. In the meantime, world number 2 Nelly Korda was getting serious about the tournament on the driving range. It's all business for the LPGA pros and a lot of fun for the celebs.
I feel like I won a contest playing with these ladies. I think it's one of the coolest experiences of my life.
I thought it was warmer. I wore these shorts like an idiot. It's a blast, a lot of fun. I learned a lot. That's how I learned how to play golf, actually, watching the girls.
Coming in, I've only had, 4 or 5 rounds of golf since September, so we'll see.
There's probably 10 dudes that are way better than everybody out here, and we know that going into it, but it's golf, and you had a little conditions, a little wind, and a little cold. You never know. Do you want any shots with my shirt off, or are we good?
I think we're good. All right, the Hilton Grand Vacations Tournament of Champions is Thursday through Sunday. 44 LPGA Tour pros are playing, including the top 10 players in the world. They're the best. 44 celebrities are playing as well, including former Gators Emmitt Smith and Chandler Parsons and Florida coach Urban Meyer. Well, January is getting the better of the Orlando Magic once again. This team has historically struggled in this month. The Magic dropped their 4th game in a row last night in Cleveland. They lost to the Cavs 114-98 as Cleveland star Donovan Mitchell went off for 45 points. Paolo led the Magic with a season-high 37. But apart from Desmond Bane's 19, Paolo didn't get a ton of offensive help. Magic are missing Franz Wagner, who is listed as out for tomorrow's game in Miami as well. Here was Paolo's reaction after last night's loss.
I think we just need to play better. Shots, may or may not fall, but we got to win. So anything we got to do to win the game.
Yeah, so Paolo obviously not happy after the loss, and why should
It's about the simplest way to say that they should play better.
They got to start making shots.
What should we do? We should play better.
The team that plays better usually wins.
We should score more points than the other
Ball's
guys.
got to go in the hoop. Ball's got to go in the hoop.
Maybe they'll warm up whenever we warm up, guys, because we are cold as well.
Boy.
Yeah, temperatures over the next few days. Pretty chilly. 34 tomorrow morning, 36 on Thursday, and then the real big stuff comes in Saturday night into Sunday. You see 20s. It's been a long time since we have had a pair of 20s on the 7-day forecast. You have to go back to 2010 since the last time that's happened at the Orlando International Airport. We're talking lower 20s northwest of I-4 both of those mornings. It's going to be cold.
Yeah, it will. Well, we'll try to speak better the next time you see us. More news coming up at 9 o'clock on clickorlando.com.
Until then, have a great night and stay warm, everybody. Bye.